All right.
Like, wait. Show.
I mean, you might.
Hello,
you'll get a
ladies,
dirty
gentlemen,
line.
boys, girls, poker enthusiasts, and welcome to another episode of Red Star Social Live, originating from the incredible Red Star Social Poker Club in Austin, Texas. Burn it 183 if you're watching locally. Come get on the list. We can get you in this game here today. Hi, I am Radio Jackass Jason Dick, and joining me today is Red Star regular and, as far as you know, poker expert Neil. How are you today, buddy? Yeah, good to see you. We have commentated previously on a Deuce to 7 stream, which, if it was not evident to the people at home, I had no idea what I was talking about. Not the same for Neil, but today we are playing No Limit Hold'em, $1, $2 blind No Limit Hold'em. I believe the buy-in is 200 to 1,000 today. That might sound like a smaller game than you're used to watching here on the internet, but for those of you uninitiated with Texas poker, it plays a little bigger down here, right, Neil?
Yeah, I definitely say so. Is this going to be a match or just regular 1,000?
When you're out, I need to let you
I believe it's 1,000 capital.
Dude, I went back.
Yeah,
match afterwards.
I think initial buy-in you can get up to 1,000, but yeah, we will do the match after that. I could foresee this game getting pretty big.
Yeah, in that case, like you started, what, 5 or big blinds? It can get easily to 2K, 3K. I've seen this game run. I haven't played in it as much because I've been introduced to 7, as we discussed last time. But I've seen some crazy stacks get out in this game. Like, I think I saw a 10K, maybe a 12K stack a couple weeks back.
In a 1-2 game, that is pretty notable. Really good. We are about to get underway with the first hand. Shout out to Daniel in the box for getting this deal right out of the gates.
Get out of the way early.
You can do it, buddy. No problem. Good. I believe we're also playing, is it the knit game? Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, exactly. It's
Tell the people about the knit game.
So it's a stand-up game, the same exact idea. It just saves the players from standing up, from doing any kind of physical activity at all. So you get a button in lieu of standing up, and same idea then, where if you win a pot, you relinquish the button, and the last remaining player holding a button, you pay the bounty to the other 8 players. In this case, I believe it's $10.
Yeah, and the idea is to get some action going because you don't want to have to pay that bounty. I'm not much of a stand-up game fan because I also don't like standing, so I love this knit game.
Yeah, it caught fire. A lot of people kind of agreed that the standing up was by far the worst part. Losing the money was by far secondary or third to being forced standing up for that long.
And it looks like Pete is going to take down the first hand. He opened with ace-queen suited to 25, just your traditional 12.5x open.
Oh yeah, that's a Texas standard. So.
Yeah.
But he got no resistance at all. That's probably the. One thing I should note in this game: you must show your cards to get rid of your button. If you don't show your cards, if you forget for whatever reason, you still want your button. Yeah, it's one little small thing. It also adds action, I believe, because as you can imagine, there's a lot more players playing professional hands, and then when those get shown down, because you're forced to show, you're definitely gonna maybe light a fire in the other players, just to see what they're playing up against. There's also strategy there too. If you don't want to show your cards because maybe you think the value of keeping your cards a secret is more than the hypothetically $80. I've done that before, actually.
Yeah, particularly when there's, if it gets down to 2 or 3 people left, then you're going to want to, show so you don't have to pay the bounty.
At that point,
but right now, when it's early on, you can probably say, I'm going to win another.
Yeah, at that point, it would be kind of arrogant to not show. At this point, I kind of see the value in not showing because obviously people are bluffing more to get rid of their button. People are calling off more, so you might get paid off if you hold on to your button a little bit longer.
This is Papa G, George, to those who know him, getting a massage and raising to $7 here. That looks like middle-ish position. It's going to be called on the button. Krista has a nice 5-4 suited in diamonds.
Yep, looks like George is going to go for it there, and he got called by a couple of definitely playable hands. We got 2 suited connectors, but they're all in the same neighborhood, so you could get some fireworks maybe.
It's trip 10s for Chris was in the small blind, I believe, with the 10-8 suited. He's flop trips. He's going to check here.
Yeah, I can't imagine this pocket's too big.
Yeah, George going to stab here. Krista folds on the button, and if you're Chris here, there's no flush draw on board. You just sit on it?
Definitely you just want to call. You want to keep all of George's bluffs in. He will be bluffing at a higher frequency to get rid of the nit button. And like you said, you don't get called by much if you raise. Only maybe another 10, maybe some, pocket pairs, but that's pretty much it.
He is filled up on the turn, just in case there was
George,
anywhere. And yeah, George has made a pair now. He's made second pair, and is probably going to continue again here.
He is. Now this might be where Chris drops a hammer because he doesn't want to go check on the river. So
right.
This could be a good spot to maybe get the check raise in.
George, when George bets again, it looks like a small. Well, no, he bet 42. I mean, he's kind of telling you, hey, I got an overpair. I have at least a playable hand, because you absolutely should be afraid of your opponent in the small blind having a 10, right?
Yeah, he's saying he's got at the very least a overpair, maybe a good draw, and also possibly a 10x himself. Chris does elect to just call again. He's going to let George keep.
It's an ace of diamonds on the river.
That's going to probably freeze up the action, though.
Yeah, if you're Chris here, you got to be afraid of it going check, and so let's see if he sticks a little mini value bet out there.
Nice.
It's not going to be a mini value
He's
bet.
going to take into his own hands, yeah. He's not going to let this.
I think that's, buck and a 125 into about 150. George instantly mucks, and Chris shows to ditch his knit button.
Yeah, from George's perspective, very few bluffs, right, from Chris. He check called twice and led. There were no draws that bricked out from the flop, so pretty easy, but good fold from George, I'd say. It's just very hard to call and affect the window. It looks like there's two nip buttons. Two nip buttons are going there. So 7 remaining still.
One way to do it, just raise blind on
all of it, and then the turn I voted up, so I was even as
And it looks like we're going to have a straddle. First straddle of the night here in seat 9.
Figured I was either getting nothing or a bunch.
I am not totally familiar with a lot of these players, Neil. Of course, I know George. I know Mike sitting in C2 as well. I definitely recognize some of the faces, but some new guys, some new players in the game for me for sure.
Same for me. Like George, of course, longtime regular. He played in the Deuce 7 game as well. He plays pretty much every week. Like you said, I know I've seen C2 and C3 before playing those games. The remaining players are very new to me. Judging from the stack size, they all are fairly deep, right? Between maybe 400 to 800 or so.
George has another good hand here. Ace-Jack offsuit. He's going to raise it to 20 with the straddle on, but Jerwin is behind him with the pocket jacks, and then Krista in the cutoff. He's got ace-queen. Jerwin is 3-bet it here to 60. She is flatting the 60 with the ace-queen off. You like that?
It's very tricky to be cold calling 3-bets in general, because your hand looks very face up. They're going to put you on, standard middle pairs
even
like
if
9-12
everybody
jacks,
still had their
and then the
nip
ace queen
buttons
couple
left,
as well.
I would be the loser and everyone gets
So she's in position, which is pretty good for her, but I would caution against cold calling 3-bets.
I mean,
4-bet is just so much stronger in general.
Well, she knew the flop was coming queen high, so she's like, no problem.
Yeah, forget all that.
Queen 9-6 with a couple of spades on board here. George is totally missed. He's checking. The pocket jack's checking as well.
Why is he checking there? And then
one punch, like birthday punches.
I wonder how much value she's going to get here.
Bet 85 on this board. One overcard. Jerwin has to call at least once here.
I would agree. He would have to call once, but he would definitely want to proceed with caution here, because if you think about the hands that Chris is going to be cold calling 3-bets with, they either hit a set here or they pair up the queen, right?
Right.
The draws, she could have some spades, I guess, but I don't know how Krista plays her tendencies, but very unlikely that she's just going to call with a suited connector type hand, right?
And when you have pocket jacks, it looks like George called, which is going to get Jerwin off the hook here.
He does have the very critical jack of spades in his hand, which means that there's a lot of good turn cards for him. That is not one of them, though.
No. A bit of a scare card, though, if you're Krista and the middle card pairs here. Middle card pairs. She's not scared, though.
Yeah, that's a big bet. Good job done.
Bet 150, George going to muck.
Good to get rid of that one, but yeah.
Find a better spot, or so you have too much information.
Very much.
I thought you were going to say,
I don't want bluffs.
I think it would have been good if you said, this Sunday at church. Started.
Yeah, right. I should have.
I been warned by production there might be slight graphics errors for this upcoming game. So let's pay close attention, Neil, see if we can figure this out.
Oh, we always
here.
do.
Yeah.
Never get distracted.
It looks like we're going to have George Papa G. George, do you really expect me to call you Papa G? Does anybody call you that name?
He's trying to get to stick. I don't know if he has yet, but he's been working at it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no.
He's going to be in the big blind. I believe that's Mike who's going to be under the gun first to act here.
Yeah, George definitely still has a nip on, so we can expect him to still get after it.
So they don't give a fuck
And
if
then I
an underage
believe
kid's playing, you know? Like, I'd walk into everyone, I'm 21, they want to question it. That's how I started.
The player next to Krista with his full house also lost the nip on so far, right?
So Mike has opened here to $10. Again, we're going to have to figure out the graphics as we go. I've played a lot of poker with Mike. Solid player. He is a guitarist in a punk rock band as well, and if I was a better friend, I would know the name of his band and tell you right now. But I am not. I am not that.
We'll check with him for the
Before
Open to 10. It looks like it was called in the small blind. It was called on the button. Called in the small blind. And George, did he crank it up here?
It's like $40 for George.
Okay, George has raised it.
I want it, you know what? I should have. I can't. What are we looking at?
A little loosey-goosey there, right? I mean, I guess you could put George on a squeeze. I don't know if that's
So it was an
my
open
type of play.
2 callers. I do think George has a strong hand here.
Yeah. Three bet an under the gun raiser and 2 callers.
Yeah, that's why it is definitely aggressive. But you're wrong again. He has a George dominated.
It's a pretty hand. I don't know, strong hand. Jack 10 of diamonds for George.
Powerhouse. Ultimate power.
All of these are interestingly connected. And the flop comes ace high with 2 hearts.
We can see some fireworks, I think, here.
Yeah, everybody. There's several Broadway draws here. Does anybody have a pair? Yeah, Pete's got a pair of queens. I'm not sure. Is this Imase? Is that how I'm? Seat 9 is Imase. Imas. He's got the Jack high flush draw.
And it is George. He's going to keep telling the same story. He leads into 3 people with just the naked gut shot.
Yeah. And it turns out nobody has an ace, so maybe this works. But I feel like leading into 3 players in a 3-bet pot, and you have
Ballsy.
Jack high.
Ballsy is the right word for it.
Yeah.
He must. Yeah, he's going to have to call with a flush draw. Excuse me, at least once.
Yeah.
And then from there, he might have to surrender to a big bet on the turn, though.
George managed to get the 2 hands better than him to fold.
Yeah, masterfully done.
So
And he's going to keep going for it, too.
he's in position now too against the small blind.
He has the best hand also, interestingly. So if
Yeah.
it bricks out and
It just
it
goes check, check.
he's going to win.
And
that's not a
that's
brick.
not a brick. That's not a brick. That's a flush. Imas is going to lead here. You can't check and let George check behind.
Yep.
I think he's declared all in. There's 510 in the pot, and so yeah, that's going to make sense. He's going to bet 270, 280. It looks like, and George has nothing.
George can't
So,
do much here. He just has to
saying,
posture a little bit.
yeah.
It is painful how that.
Papa G
The worst card
tried
choice
his
there.
best. He's enjoying massage. He's going to fold.
Just some bad string of hands for George, I think. He's been trying to get rid of that button. He ran into a flush, a full house, and then just ace-queen on queen X board. So, in general, aggressive play is the way to go in the nit game. You want to get rid of that button sooner rather than later.
Well, and this is sort of the point of the nit game, right, Neil? Is that you can get players to fire off $200 into a pot with Jack high, so that they don't end up paying the $80 bounty.
Yes, that is one of the best incentives to calm people down. There's way more bluffing, and of course there's more bluff catching.
Also, when you get rid of it, you automatically
More
get
action in
$10
general.
too.
And it's only
Makes
think
it
about it,
basically $10.
$80 every single week.
I didn't even think of that.
But the pride is,
Yeah.
you don't want to be that last one, you know, the one declared to me.
It was 100, right? Per
So I've
player?
often bluffed off thousands of dollars to save hundreds.
I know what you're saying.
And I feel okay about it, as I'm sure these players do as well.
I've done 100 per player.
I feel like that's what they did when I played it.
Krista has the Jack 5 here in middle position. Reached for a second. That's not correct.
Maybe a
What I was
Michael Jackson
looking
fan would have better.
$4,000 trying to not
Jacob
pay.
has got a suited queen 8. Is going to raise it to 15 here. Called by Pete right behind him with pocket 6s. George in the small blind with 10-8
He's not giving up.
offsuit.
He's not giving up.
Says, this massage is so great, guys. I can't just fold and focus on them. I need to be in these hands. I play tighter when I'm getting a massage. Neil?
I do too.
Yeah.
Same for getting food or massage. I just
Exactly.
find myself, less focused on the game and more focused on that. But not everyone's like that.
Multitasker, Papa G. King 9-9 on the flop. That is going to be a top pair for Jerwin here. Everybody else
Yeah,
is
everyone else
mostly
kind of
missed.
bricked out.
And it's going to check all the way around.
Oh, there's a fairly interesting card. There's an open-ender now for George, which he might get involved with. And everyone else probably can get out of the way, though.
Well, Jerwin's going to have to call here, right? Is that you mean everybody other than
Everyone other than the
Yeah,
king,
yeah.
he checked the flop with his king, I'm assuming, to allow someone to bluff.
right?
And
George
George
betting.
has been playing every hand so far, so I don't imagine Jerwin is going to fold on either the turn or the river. There's only about $100 behind as well.
Yeah, George bet 80. I believe that's about a pot size bet, and he's got a pocket pair. He's going to have to take that, and it'll be heads up on the river here. George needs a 7.
If he gets there,
or a
he will likely
queen.
get paid. Queen is kind of a scarier card.
Ace of clubs. Nobody really likes that card. Probably. Well, no. George's going to go for it.
He's going to give the impression he likes it. He has a 10 of clubs in his hand, and Jerwin, of course, hates this card. But he did snap. Was that a snap?
Oh yeah, and then George confidently turned his hand over, and Jerwin said, "What happened here?" I win. I win with the.
I guess from Jerwin's side, it's only about $110 to win around 450, and then there's nip bun at stake as well. So.
And you're right. I think he decided on the flop, particularly against a player who's been playing loose like George. He's just going to hold on no matter what comes here with his stack size.
Yeah, he gets through his bun as well.
So, George down to the felt. Has to explain to the masseuse, "I can't pay you. I'm sorry."
I'll get you next time.
Yeah, just kidding, George. We know you're good for it. And I assume he's
reaching.
He's
Yeah,
getting a
there he goes.
reload going here.
Sometimes losing early is just an investment in your future, right?
That's
you get
what
that image going, and you're gonna make it all back.
That's what I tell myself every time I dump that first buy-in in the first orbit.
Yeah, you just want to get warmed
That
up
was
a little
good.
bit.
That was good for me. That was good for my image.
We just call them I win. We just call them I win chips over here.
It is a fun little phenomenon that getting back to even wins or feels even better than wins at times.
Of course.
Would you agree?
Of course. I mean, particularly the days when you're buried, when you're just in for 3 or 4 buy-ins.
Getting back to that,
Yeah.
like within even $100 or something, just feels fantastic.
Yeah, once in a while. Not a million.
Maybe that's what George is going for right now.
Has it folded all the way around to the button?
This might be the hand. We had a little bit of foreshadowing. I don't think this is the one though.
Okay, George with the 9-deuce says, "Yeah, I will get out of here." There was a straddle here, and so Mike's going to raise it to 20 with 10-4 suited from the small blind. As there's been no aggressor so far.
Yeah, both players have the nip buns, so definitely expect them to see a flop at the very least.
And it's a call with the 8-deuce of hearts from, is that Mr. Misdeal?
That's the name.
Dude, that's how, like,
I think I know that. Is that a dealer? We know him? Yeah.
He's a lot dealer, everybody.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
it's
see.
in the name. It's
Quality.
I never.
Yeah, definitely some powerhouse showdown flop here. And that's a flop actually.
Yeah, 7-6-3 with 2 hearts, so Mr. Misdeal has flopped a flush draw. Mike with a gutter, not much here, but with the pre-flop aggressor is going to continue. It looks like he bet $30 in 42, and this has got to be a flat from Mr. Misdeal.
I think you could raise some of the time here just because this board in general should be better for the caller than the initial raiser. But
Right.
Oh, he does go for the raise actually.
Okay.
The one issue is that if you get called though, he's already meriting, barreling the turn, because if people call, that usually means they've got an overpair or maybe a better draw. So this could be like a one and done deal where you raise the flop, and then you get a free card if you check back on the turn.
Right. Yeah, I get the logic in the trying to buy a free, just get to the river. But the times that it sucks is when your opponent just has an overpair, pours it in, and now you're like, you know, I have an 8 high flush
And then you're like,
draw.
I wish I just called.
Yeah. So that's why I indicated a flat. But I'm
Well, let's see. Mike is definitely not a nit. He just called with his 10 high gut shot. I'm gonna guess he's got some plans for later streets because he knows that this is not gonna win at showdown. And that's again a very cool card. This card you could maybe continue on. Let's see if Mr. Misteal wants to take a free one instead.
Yeah, Mike is checked, and appears to be some conversation here.
They got more than pot size behind. He's maybe considering the jam. He does have an open ender to go with the flush draw, so it would make sense, but you got to ask yourself, what hands is he calling with?
He is going to jam it.
That's going to work.
An overbet, and yeah, I mean, Mike has
A double gut shot now, but it's a very strange double gut shot.
Yeah. He just can't call off
You
here.
cannot, no.
Mike, you were right, all right? If you knew
You were ahead.
what your opponent was doing, that was correct call.
This
and make a plan,
pressure, yeah, I would not advise calling here. He's ahead right now, though, as we can see.
Is he really considering it? I mean,
I
I
don't
guess
know.
He does. Yeah, you're right. He's got the double gutter, but with 2 flush draws on board as well, you can't even be very confident that all of your straights are going to be good.
It's just the fact that you beat literally nothing, like any combination of cards.
Right.
In general, you just have to lose.
He
Okay,
is going to
wow.
call.
Yet again, we have
it's
been...
a 10
Oh, he
10
got
on
there,
the
he
river,
got there.
and so yeah, Mr. Misteal has made a straight here. Is this the graphics error? Okay, we may be experiencing.
yeah, Mr. Miss is pushing the forward, so...
Okay, so.
The river course looks like a 5 now, that we're looking at it, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
So
It's
it
not
is-
the 10 of spades there.
Wait, actually...
But a 5 would be a straight as well, right? You know what? We may have been commentating on it. Who knows if he had eight deuce
the
of
hands
cards
could
there.
have been wrong. That's
Yeah.
Because, again, the 10-4 call-off, I do not think gets made by the vast majority of players. I'm guessing he had a different hand.
Yeah. You guys at home can stop and rewind that. I'm sure Mike tabled his hand, and you can see exactly why he did that. And then laugh at us for our commentary about
We went deep into
could he possibly
analyzing the 10-4.
be thinking the 10 high is good here.
But either way, Mike does get rid of his nip on. Made a good call there against Mr. Misteal with whatever he had.
Yeah, overshove on the turn. We're pretty confident that the amounts were correct there, and so whatever you had there is.
The stack size
obviously
looked
a
right.
tough.
It just
Yeah.
the hands are the question mark there.
Mr. Misteal's reloaded. We got some more money getting on the table here. I believe a straddle on this hand as well. It's going to be an open for 25.
Time out, you said? Pause.
How many are we down to? I want to say 4 players have buttons.
With the knit buttons, I see Mr. Misteal with it. I see, is it just the 2 of them?
Oh,
three.
George has one as well, of
All
course.
right, George, despite his best efforts.
He's not been giving up.
Talking about timeout.
So
And
the 3 of those. Okay.
I think Mr. Duffy
So definitely a battle here. Like I said, no one wants to, take the ego hit of being declared the nit, right? $80, of course, is just, icing on top of that.
92, I believe.
892.
I don't think we've seen the 7 seat get involved just yet, but I expect that to change pretty soon.
There we go. 35 is time. Yeah, if I say timeout, I remind everyone to
waiting on the ground. Okay, here we go.
Freeze.
don't move. Freeze.
Looks like, I believe Chris was in the straddle with the pocket jacks, but he might have just limped there. Pete with ace jack suited cranked it up to 35.
I think Chris was straddled, and then Chris just called the straddle.
Oh, Chris. Okay, yeah, you're correct. So it is it's back to Chris here, and he's going to just call with the jacks as well. I don't love that.
Yeah, I think if you're going to limp the jacks, you're probably going to want to put in the raise there.
Right.
There's so much value you get from a lot of the hand stacks. Going to be raised by
Have an
Pete.
entertainment value.
And but he
wow.
gets
The
a
one-outer.
money flop. Are they? It went check real quick there, and what a turn card. It does complete the flush, but now Pete has got top 2. Chris just gonna nudge the pot with $15 here.
Yeah, a little bit of a feeler bet. Just gets called.
And I guess with the flush on board, it's going to keep these guys from putting a lot of money in here. But Chris, the trip jacks, maybe a missed opportunity here. He's just checking.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And now Pete is putting out a little value bet, and he's going to get insta-called here. He's going to think, how did
this guy get to this point?
Doesn't know how fortunate he was here in this situation.
Definitely a little bit conservative with the jacks, but of course, like you said, there's flush draws out there. They got there's straights possibility too. So he just wanted to play a little bit safer. And I think it was going to be a 2-street game anyways.
Yeah, I was trying to get a value bet there. Knowing there's a flash, but I thought you meant.
But yeah, limping those big pairs could be troublesome. Number 1, I guess worst case scenario is it goes just limp around like 4 or 5 ways, which does happen at these sort of tables.
Bad.
Number 2 is it goes raise and then multiple callers, and then your only sizing is going to be close to all in. Right? Because there's already so much in the pot. It's a bloated straddle pot. So I would probably err away from limping, and I'd go for just the open raise, and then you can play your range a lot more straightforward, having your strong hands open, some of your maybe suit connectors open, rather than getting into a guessing game.
All right, so Chris limped again here, this time with 5 deuce of clubs, and Jacob, who's still got his knit button, we see is going to get involved. He's got a pretty 5-3 suited, is raising it to 20. Jacks again. Emos is just going to flat with the jacks. Everybody, you know what? Maybe they've learned their lesson with jacks.
Jacks are they're a trouble hand.
Yeah,
we all know that.
Well, and but then you see this flop, and even though you're ahead, you kind of hate it if you're Emos. Jacob, it is a pretty good flop for him. He's flopped a gutter ball and middle pair. He's got a backdoor flush draw and the lead.
Yep, this is about as good as it gets for Jacob. He's got to bet at least once. The snap call could be could cause Jacob to maybe slow down a little bit.
But he's turned a flush draw here, king of hearts.
That's one of the cards you want to go on, I would say.
And 75 here, and yeah, he's going to get the fold. He's going to have to show his hand
it's gonna
here.
Be great. Let's see how.
And Emos
sees it.
Yeah, he's going to be cool about it. And Jacob will ditch that knit button. So it's down to Papa G, George, and Mr. Misdeal. Whichever one does not win a hand first. It's going to owe everybody at the table 10. Right?
Yes. This is a great chance. If it ever gets heads up between the two, then you'll see fireworks. Neither wants to lose that pot. There's an additional $80 just hanging over the head, basically. So a lot of times he does get heads up in the final hand, and it probably gets all in too. With some questionable holdings. They're not that deep. I don't think it's maybe one red stack and a couple of chickens.
That makes the kind of plus EV since it's
so not a super deep pot, but they will be getting after it, I think, right here.
anything yet.
Another playable
Clearly
hand
gonna
here.
play my button.
Offsuit, he's going to raise it to 20. And Emos going to flat with King 10 offsuit.
You see George talking to his opponent down right now. I don't know what he's saying, but it seems he seems very, very confident about it.
Yeah, well, he's got the Jack 10 offsuit, and he's going to play this hand. If I know how
at the very
George
minimum,
operates,
at least a call,
he is
if
not
not more.
going
His
too
last
much
Jack
this
10, he
hand.
did 3-bet,
Yeah.
and then
It'll
barreled
be my
off, so
decision
maybe he
here.
has the same sort of ideas here. Let's see. Let's see the 3-bet. Oh, no, just
Yeah, he's going to flat it here. He's got other players involved early on.
Yeah, we're just going to see a flop.
And if you're Mr. Misdeal here, what does it do? Oh, he's got a playable hand. He's got pocket sevens. He's just got to get it in here, right? I don't know his stack sign. Well, he's got 397, so it's a little big. He's going to flat. All right.
At the very least, flat, you could 3-bet. It's just such a unique situation with the knit game going on as well.
Yeah.
Like, you could argue for something like all in there, which seems like a massive overbet shove, but
Right.
oftentimes,
I mean, to me, I feel like I'm going to get called light, perhaps by somebody who, I might be in good shape versus what somebody would call me with when I have.
yeah, the dynamic of everyone knowing that you're going to be shoving there probably way wider than sevens. you could go for just strictly value and expect to get, get called by ace, king, ace, queen, maybe some lower pairs sometimes.
All right, check this out. 10 high flop. Imas has the best hand right now. He has got king 10, but George has re-raised it to 155, and the only club I believe was Mr. Misdeal. He's going in the muck.
George gets the
George
job
is
done.
going to win it
There
here.
he goes. He just muscles his way.
Yeah,
All right, guys, come and get it.
it's Mr. Misdeal. Going to have to pay off. If our calculations are
Take
correct.
that shit away. Take that shit away. Take that shit away.
I just wish if
And that the flop and the turn.
You,
yeah, if we could have seen what the rest of the table would have done versus a ship there, I believe that the other two players with, I think they had king queen or king 10,
yeah.
they would quickly fold. But when it gets back to George, knowing that there's an extra $80 on top of whatever the stack is.
Yeah, George would, I believe, would have to pay off there.
He might have made the call, yeah.
Just because by folding,
Make it rain! Make it rain!
Automatically $80, whereas if you call,
you might still lose the $80,
Yeah,
but at least you're going to
give it the call.
make your guy fight for it. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, are we playing a bomb pot?
Fucking amazing.
Right looks like they're doing the first bomb pot of the night.
That's how we do it here, everybody. Winner the
Oh,
night,
okay.
bump
So
up.
putting the bomb pot button into play. The winner of this will get the bomb pot button. So there'll be bomb pots in the near future for you, action enthusiasts.
Raise to 12.
Yeah, you can't really use the nickname for the bomb pots as much because obviously there's two boards. Like, do you do a sort of deal where the top board gets the nip on gone, or do you do like a full scoop? It gets kind of confusing, so definitely want to play his nickname up
We
first.
haven't broken up street. Everyone in Austin knows.
Imas has raised to 12 here. What I would call a reasonable raise in a 1-2 no limit game, but smaller based on what we've seen so far. George's going to call. He's got the 7-5 suited. That's pretty handy. And then Mike,
Another Jack 10 suited.
he's got Jack 10 suited. He's going to 3-bet it to $50.
I kind of like what we're seeing. All
Yeah.
the jacks are flatting opens, but the Jack 10 suited are going crazy, which is not what you'd expect. But
maybe the opposite of the way
what
you would want to
think
do
would
it.
happen. But people like their Jack 10 suited.
Oh, they do.
Fold. Fold.
George's going to call with the 7-5 suited, and the ace-jack called as well. 3 ways to the flop here.
Yeah, Mike unfortunately doesn't know it. He's against a dominating jack and then clubs, so he's going to have to...
George has flopped the best hand with bottom pair here, but let's see where it goes from there. Mike, who 3-bet pre-flop, is going to continue for $50 into $150. It's not going to work versus George.
We're going to see a turn for sure. It could work on the turn if he continues to tell a story, or you can just get there.
Yeah, just make the best hand, no problem. It's going to go check, check, and
Check. Check.
Oh, and then George, just roller coaster of a hand. I expect him to go for value here. He knows that he's likely ahead. He's almost definitely ahead, actually.
yeah, 2-pair almost always, unless your opponent's got something 7-8 or something weird like that, but 7 in your hand. He's gonna. That's not too big. 250 in the pot, and he's gonna bet 150 here.
I think George's image will get him paid. He's been splashy, hearts missed.
Yeah. Hearts missed. You can put him on a 6-7, which you beat. Again, Madrid.
You don't love it, but I expect a call here some of the time.
Thinking it out.
Definitely tough spot. This is very value-y looking sizing.
George put a
like
big
ball. He's like talking to everyone.
Yeah, he's put a big bet out here, and now everybody's just going to come
Socializing.
over and say hello.
That does indicate strength, but
Yeah.
George, of course, is capable of doing that with his bluffs too, I'm sure. He's having a little bit of a party over there in C1.
Mike's reaching here. gonna get some bad news, but maybe he's just waiting, seeing if George will do anything to give it away.
He's going to be goodbye. I don't fault him at all, though.
And I believe George has announced 2 pair, or he's slow rolling them. Let's see. Let's see here.
There it is.
Okay. Yeah, Mike's gonna have some luck. George's gonna pick up a pretty decent size pot there. Just 1 hand too late, George. Just 1 hand.
I don't mind that call at all.
Oh no,
guys,
wait.
so.
He won the last one. Excuse
He
me.
did.
I
He
was
did win
thinking
the
he was the loser of the bounty game, but no, he did it.
Yeah, this is the investment I told you about. It's now paying dividends for him. He's hit the jack 10 for the top pair, and then he hit 2 pair, and now it just all came back. But in that spot for Mike, it's very difficult to find a fold there, just knowing how splashy George has been. Most of the draws bricked out. You block 9-10. You expect sets to raise flop. I just don't think a lot of hands make that much sense for value, except for, I guess, the random 2 pair. You have to wonder if even Queen X, of course, number 1 check calls flop, and then number 2 goes for that size in the river.
Straddle again on this hand. It's $1, $2, $5 now. Playing 1-2 No Limit Holdem. Red Star Social, Austin, Texas. Red Star Live. I think I'm supposed to tell you to click the subscribe thing down there. Yell at us in the chat.
Follow, subscribe, yeah.
Watching along.
Everybody folded. It would have felt like a needle.
It's an open with pocket 7s. Are those the same 2 7s Mr. Misdeal had a moment ago?
Don't be the club was there.
Yeah. It's called by the straddle with King Jack offsuit. Fair fight going to the flop. Ace 10 8. Pocket 7 still ahead here, but is literally a flip.
Yeah, not ideal. That's a very cool turn card, though.
A 9 of clubs on the turn, yeah.
They both get the straight flush draw. But they both can't hit it, unfortunately, so...
Emos can get the Queen of Clubs, right?
As in they both can't hit it at the same time.
Oh, they both can't hit it at the same time.
That would have been cool to see. I think is there a bad jackpot
You're a
going on?
sicko, Neil. I can tell. You're
I
just
want the
rooting
action.
for a
want
straight
the,
flush on
for
straight
the fans
flush.
at home, we
Yeah.
want to see some Babby type hands, right? Is there a Babby jackpot running? I think there's like a quads type thing.
Excellent promotions at Red Star Social. I can assure you that. The 9 pairs on the end. Mr. Misdeal has the best hand. He's gonna go check. He's gonna lose here.
Yeah, kind of an action killer.
Yeah. 2 hands too late for my guy. There we go. That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
The 7s didn't work out the first time, but definitely not gonna happen the second time.
Yeah, coincidentally, that was the exact same 2 cards I had in the Jack 10. I don't know. I feel like it's not worth risking 400.
I think stack size wise, we have George with the biggest round 1.5.
I figured you were.
And then, is it Jerwin, the seat 3, who bought in fairly deep as well? So there's potential for a 2K, maybe a little bit over 2K size spot.
Right. And maybe not necessarily in this stream, but come by Red Star Social any evening as it gets later. You'll find a 1-2 game with some pretty deep stacks.
Yeah, 1-2's in quotations there.
Yeah.
Straddle for 10, straddle for 100. Raise 45.
Got $10 out here.
Fold. Straddled 3 times in my life.
Couple of maybe has George straddled it to $10? Is that what I'm to believe?
I think it was just a straight up open from George with the ace queen.
Oh, okay.
And he got actually 3-bet from ace 4 offsuit. That's not going to work here in George, of course, but
yeah. Jacob has been playing relatively snug. Not that George is gonna. Yeah, he says I've got ace queen. We're gonna see
he's like, I don't
we're
care
gonna
what
see
you're
the
doing.
flop, man.
2 players.
$10-8-6 rainbow, not great for either player, and Jacob had the lead, but is going to check behind here. And a jack of diamonds comes on the turn. That's a double gutter for George, right?
yeah, George is not getting away from this on the turn at the very least. That flop, I don't mind the check from the ace 4 offsuit. This board is probably better for the caller than the 3-better, so you can probably check it back, even though your hand is so bad. And then that turn as well, more straight draws come in, so It might just go check and have. I guess
George is gonna bet here, thinking that he's bluffing, right? Trying to get
ace king off. Yeah, I guess.
yeah, ace king or a pocket sevens or something like. But pocket seven's gonna bet that flop as well. So maybe just ace king. He's trying to get to fold.
Yeah,
it's gonna work
seven.
because your opponent has even worse, George.
Yes, this should work. Unless Jacob's thinking about calling. I can't imagine a raise at this point.
Well, and you wouldn't call with just ace four high here, right?
You are. It's a very narrow range you're targeting, right? Only king queen offsuit. That's pretty much it. So you can't make the call.
And yeah, you 3-bet pre, but then check 2 times. You can't really represent much there. So George is going to take that one down.
George on a little roll now.
Thinks he got away
like
with
3 in a row.
Had the best hand. The street.
Yep, that board just didn't really materialize much for the ace four.
405. C8 is adding on 405.
But yeah, the 6, 8, 10, as the 3-better, you expect your opponent to be calling with a lot of pairs and then some Broadway type cards. So that board you probably don't have to c-bet 100% of the time. Especially with ace 4, which literally can't turn anything at all.
Right. That's pretty smart, Neil. But I'm just if I'm gonna fire off 3-bet pre-flop with ace 4, I'm gonna put in another bet at some point.
I respect that, to be honest. Once you start something, you finish it. Right?
Yeah, or at least I'm gonna make one more valiant effort at it. Maybe 2.
Hold 2, fold.
All right, Chris has limped again here. He's got a good-looking 5-3 of spades. Pete with the ace-10 offsuit on the button. He's gonna raise it up. I think that's $20 from Pete. Quickly called by Imas in the small blind with 10-7 suited. That's a pretty hand, but playing out of the small blind there, Neil. It's probably a low EV call, no?
I would say you want to probably, I'd say you want to probably play as a 3-bet or fold at that point. It's not going to be the great spot for you to go 3-handed to the flop.
We are pretty deep here.
Yeah, you're deep enough that you could probably just maybe try to, like, I guess, pair mine or draw mine.
Okay, this is interesting. A great flop for Chris's 5-3 spades. He's got the pair and the flush draws. That's what
these guys, this is a round 2. The earlier hand, if you remember, they had the jacks versus the ace jack.
He donked for $15, and Pete now with ace high. Oh my goodness, with ace high, he raised it to 60, and Chris is just going to lay down. I am going to say there's, I don't know, slight potential for a graphics error there. I don't know, man. I can't say I'm familiar with Chris's game, but I don't ever flop a pair and a flush draw and then just.
That's what they do in the fight.
Yeah, it was just a single small bet. He only bet $15. I think the final flop it was 20 each, so it was $15 into 60.
Yeah.
So 1/4 pot into pot size raise, and he just gets rid of it. That is on the safer side. I think with a pair and a flush draw, it's more skewed towards raising there than folding. Obviously, calling is very good too.
Folding never seems like an option because, I mean, no matter what your opponent has, you can't be in that much trouble.
You are in great shape against every single holding. Even a set, you're doing not great against, but still 30% with a flush draw. And then against his flush draws, that's more importantly, you dominate.
Yeah, you have a pair. If he's got the ace high spade.
And then if he has the ace 10 offsuit that's red, you are, of course, I think it was like, what, 70-something%? Something crazy like that.
Yeah. All right, straddle again here to $5. Jacob opened it with pocket queens to $20. George has called.
That was fun.
George in the small blind. There was a call in between there. Pete called with the 4-3 offsuit, and George in the small blind is going to call with ace-jack offsuit.
Yep, Jacob gets a real hand finally. He's been in there with 5-3 and ace-4 offsuit, and now he might get a bit of action.
Yeah, if you're going to call with 4-3 pre and you flop middle pair, Jacob bets 35. Pete's going to call. George going to have to get out of the I hate folding. He says, don't make me do it. There
you see visible pain on his face, but he does make the fold in the end. And this could be a bigger pot. There's a lot of good turn cards from the top. That is not really one of them.
I just thought I'd be able to.
But you don't love it with pocket queens here. When you get, somebody flats on you, definitely think it could be a set. 5-6 gets there.
5-6 gets there. Yeah, there's a lot of scary cards. This is not an overcard, which Jacob can take some solace in, but this one is very connected. Unfortunately, 4-3 offsuit can't really do much, I would imagine.
He's going to bet 75, and yeah, that's probably going to have to be good enough for Pete to give up on his 4-3 offsuit dream.
And once again,
dream,
he's reaching. Whenever we make a definitive statement, they just prove us wrong. I guess he's just doing some inventory. He just makes a call.
And the river is another interesting middling, straighting card. 9 of hearts. Jacob, maybe just check call here to control the pot.
He does,
check, and queen's going to win.
My problem is whenever I see these kind of boards, 2, 4, 7, 8, 9, I just think of deuce to 7 hand. This is like Pat 9. Look at this beautiful hand, and I just get like a small little like dopamine hit from that. But unfortunately for Pete, the 9 does not help him, so he will just take a showdown value and get the bad news.
Red Star Social, great outlet for the deuce to 7 players of the world. You guys running that how often here, Neil? Is that game going?
So it's been pretty consistent schedule actually. It's every Monday, Saturday, just strictly deuce to 7, starting at 4 o'clock. And then Thursday we do a round and round. So it's 3 rounds of PLO, Big O, and then deuce to 7 as well. So 3 times a week on average. And then there's some variable days too where we just get them running on a random Sunday or something, depending on the lineup.
When I do the turn, I do the normal one first and then the one above
I think yesterday it didn't run for the first time in a long time. A couple people are out of town. I think Vegas, they have F1 going on. I'm going there actually later this week, so.
For the F1?
Not for the F1. You know Bill Burr, comedian. He's doing a show on Friday. He's one of my favorites, so I'm going for that. But F1 will be going on at the same time. I think he's in town for F1, but.
Okay, here, I want to get back to Bill Burr and F1 in a moment, but we have a bomb pot here, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not familiar with the bomb pot, it's a real lifestyle, man. Play pot limit Omaha bomb pots. You dealt 4 cards. There's going to be 2 boards, and each board is worth half the pot. What did we ante here? It's a $5 bomb pot, so it's starting with $45. No pre-flop action. I imagine if you're watching the Red Star Social stream, you know how bomb pots work, so that was just a waste of an explanation, Jason. You did it, man.
This is a staple for most Texas players at this point, but for any newer players or maybe players from out of the state, this is very, very good action in most Hold'em games. I'd say every once in orbit, we get these bomb pots going, and they are pot limit, so you can bet $45 right here, which is generally the sizing players prefer to use when they bet at all.
It is check to George, who is going to bet the pot. Let me find Papa G on there. He's got the aces, and he's got a pair of kings on both boards as well, so he's kind of...
He's got the most important aces. He's got the ace of hearts and the ace of clubs, so he's got the heart draw on the bottom, and then the blocker to the club draw on the top. So this is such a good hand, not only because of the aces, but you can bluff if the club hits, knowing that you have the nut flush blocker, and then if the heart hits, you just strictly get there.
Krista has called him with the second nut club draw. Jacob's called with a pair of kings on both boards, is that right? And he's made trips on the top board.
Last king
top for me. I don't know if that's top for you at home. But George has made the flush on the heart board. So he's got the nuts there. He's going to continue. Suppose there's a straight flush opportunity. Don't start with me about the nuts.
I think Jacob really can't fold at this point. He knows there's no kings left in the deck. His only problem is that he's playing for half the pot.
Right.
Because he's got 1 pair on bottom, and then he's just praying that his king X on top right now is going to be good at showdown. Luckily for him, though, there only is pocket 3s and pocket 8s that can beat him on the top board, so... Oh, he does find the fold there.
Yeah,
George put a lot of pressure.
And maybe a disciplined play from Jacob. I'm no bomb pot expert, as the Red Star Social T-shirts say, I believe. But it's just so hard because on the river, if your opponent bombs it and you can only get half the pot,
it's a terrible spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good fold actually. There are no good cards on the bottom for you. You're just drawing dead there.
Just hoping to fill up.
Yeah, there are only, I guess, 2 hands beat you. Pocket eights, pocket threes, but what if the club comes? Pretty much any card that comes is a scare card for you, except for Jackie of 2, I guess the 5
You're right. With the king on the other board, maybe he's got enough. Because if your opponent is full with eights, with pocket eights, pocket threes, then it might be that you're just good on the other board.
That's true. It's a tough decision to make, though. That's why
it's difficult.
Honestly, dude,
yeah, the power position there is really, really good. George's position can just, pot it with impunity. And if you don't have either the nuts on one board or maybe second nuts on both boards, you will probably have to let it go most of the time.
All right, Mr. Misdeal here has raised to $6, a 3x raise. Unheard of in the Texas poker streets.
Definitely a little bit of a pop builder.
And yeah, you're getting
raised up really quickly.
You see here, he's called in a million spots, and then Mike with the 5-4 of clubs is going to 3-bet it to 45 and said, let's play for real.
Yeah, he says none of this.
Let's play for real. And did he fold the ace-queen? He did. Oh my goodness. Mr. Misdeal, a little wounded early on. Lost the knit game.
That's understandable.
Had to rebuy.
Wounds a little bit.
Yeah. But George is not going to let this thing go. He's got pocket sevens. With the button. Says we're going to see a flop here, Mike.
I like the squeeze from Mike, though. This is a good spot with a very disguised hand. The thing is, George is definitely going to probably give you some action, and then you got to be willing to put some more bets in, which I expect Mike to do.
So this is pretty. Queen, Queen, 9, and George checked out of position here. George is on the button.
He did, yes.
And so Mike was going to continue, but it looks like he bet and just got instantly called by George.
He checked out of position again, I think. Was that what just happened?
Now I think he's being funny. Yeah, we're having a laugh here. Mike has got the 5 high. You have to. I think did he check? No, he's still. He's gonna lead. You have to be worried that George is tricky enough that he's just going to angle you check with a queen here. Check out a position.
Yeah, I definitely would not put that out of George's arsenal. It's just so hard to fire a third bullet here to George, knowing that he'll never fold a queen. He might not fold a 9.
There's
10 Jack got there in some extent on the river. So
Mike is explaining to him right now how he's not supposed to call pocket sevens.
He does make the shutdown there, which again I probably do the same. In that spot, your best bet probably is to go for a bet check bet line, knowing that if you check the turn, George is likely only going to bet his queen X's and then probably check back. Case like pocket sevens type hands and 9X.
Right.
And then if he doesn't bet the turn, then maybe go for a big river bet.
Put him to the test on the end.
And do the same thing with your overpairs too, because let's say if your pocket ace is there, you're not going for 3 streets, right?
Right.
Because you're afraid of the queen. So I'd say play a 2-street game there in general. Either flop turn or flop river. But George made it difficult, definitely, for a triple barrel bluff.
Chris limping here with the Queen 9 offsuit. George is in the cutoff with 8 high. He's going to fold. Sorry.
You can take one off, I think.
Yeah.
Winning like every pot.
Mike has a playable hand. The Jack 8 of hearts is going to raise it to $10 on the button here. Chris has been limping basically 100% of his range, so I don't know if you truly identify that as weakness. And he flopped the top pair. Queen, 5, deuce, 2 clubs.
He did. He definitely limped. The first time we saw was a pocket jacks where he limp called. And then a couple of other speculative hands like this one, I believe.
Okay, so it checked all the way around 4 ways on the flop. And
That's
Jerwin,
a turn card. Look at that.
Yeah, has turned second pair, but it gives Mr. Misdeal the flush draw.
So Jerwin has 2 pair now. Mr. Misdeal has a pair and a flush
Excuse
draw.
me, 2 pair,
And
yes.
Chris has the top pair still. So we're definitely going to at least go 3 ways. And could be a lot of interesting cards here. Let's see if we get one of them.
6 of hearts, not exactly one of them.
Yeah, that's probably going to go maybe 1 bet per 2 pair, and then Queen X, I imagine, we'll just make a call. A little bit left from Mission Misdeal so far.
115 in the pot. German with 2 pair is going to bet. Looks like 55. Flush draw hits the muck. It is 55, and Chris with top
Quick
pair
call,
is
yeah.
going to call. Get the bad news. Says, oh, maybe I should have bet on the flop. Maybe I would have lost more.
May or may not have worked.
Yeah.
Jerwin doing pretty good so far. I think he's had some good value bets. Actually, no, he called George's bluff that one hand, right?
Right.
Call, showdown.
And just good at making two pair. That's
That is, again,
that's always helpful.
that's a sign of a good player.
Aspiring poker players at home, practice making two pair. It's gonna work out good
Yeah,
for you.
get a deck of cards and
Yeah.
then just concentrate really hard.
Exactly.
Love that now.
So out of like prop or games that you can run during a game, what's your favorite? Out of say like 7 deuce game or Nick game or whatever.
Yeah, you know, I've actually never played the knit game, and
really?
I've not played it. I'm familiar with the stand-up game, but again, a real good sitter I am, guys, a real good sitter. So anytime it's come up, I've usually pushed back against it. I would never be the last one who doesn't want to do it, but no, I haven't done it. I do love the Deuce 7 game.
That's probably my favorite game, I think.
It's pretty tremendous.
Because that, like, no other game really warps the entire game like that one does.
Right.
Because in every single spot, you've got to add the possibility of a different entire, like, 16 combinations of 7 deuce or whatever into the range, right?
Right.
So you got to be thinking, like, does he have aces? It's got to be ace or 7 deuce or, you know, whatever else value there could be. That game, I think, is very, very good for the game. Nip game or stand-up game, it does the same thing. But players don't have to play unless the stakes are that high. And they don't have to play until enough players lose as well. Like,
Right.
there's different approaches to that game. Where 7 deuce, you always got to be willing to play defense.
And it just feels so good to dunk on everyone to turn over that 7 deuce and then have to collect all the bounties. Oh,
that's excellent.
We've been alerted the 7 deuce game is on the way.
We just have to talk about it. You know,
You
just
asked
will it
for
into
it.
existence.
You got it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see the difference from this to the you know, the first couple of minutes of the stand-up game that we had. And I think this will be more action in general. Some players, they go crazy for the 7 deuce game. Every chance they get it, they will go effectively all in.
Right.
I am one of those to some extent. Others, they just think in their mind like, oh, 7 deuce game, I'm not going to actually play it, but I might call someone else on the, you know, possibility that they're playing it.
Obviously, the situational, it matters what's gone on, but it's probably just a good strategy to say, yes, let's play 7 deuce and then play normal.
That's a winning strategy.
Going to fire off on you. Oh, look at that. Poker Face Ash is going to be here on December the 2nd, playing a live stream 1-2 No Limit Hold'em game, the same game that we're playing right now. I assume, Dustin, there's a list for this game? It's probably pretty long already? No? Yes? You want to play with Ashley Frank? Come down to Red Star Social, get your name on the list for maybe December 2nd.
Yeah, she's, I think, a pretty popular vlogger.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to get on her YouTube channel if possible.
Based in the Dallas area, she went deep this summer at the World Series of Poker in the Monster Stack, an event that I min-cashed in.
Oh, you played it, though. Nice.
I did.
Have you played it before, or was this the first time?
I have, yeah, I've played the World Series enough times to have not learned my lesson.
People that have played it have told me, they will play it for the rest of their lives. Like, it's that much good value. It's that much of a good experience.
The World Series in general, or the
just the 10K, like the main event.
Okay, so yeah, I've played the. So I was talking specifically. Ashley went deep in the Monster Stack event. That's a 1500. Right. I'm sure she played the main event as well. As did I. I have made day 3 of the main event. All 3 times that I have played it, I have made day 4 0 times. So.
Is it day 3, end of day 3 you cash, or day 4?
Yeah, I am
close there,
without a cash. So thanks for rubbing it in. Thanks a lot, buddy. But it is the most incredible tournament. That whether you're a tournament player, a cash game player, whatever it is, it's a lot of fun.
That's what everyone has said that I've spoken to that played it. You played with anyone famous when you played that 3 times?
Yeah. The first time that I played, day 2. Had Antonio Esfandiari on my left, and
that sounds terrible.
That
guy's not shy with the pre-betting.
And the ESPN cameras came by and interviewed me, and they're like, "We see it's your first time playing the main event. How cool is it sitting next to Antonio?" I was like, "It's not cool at all. Yeah. There's still 4,000 players in this tournament.
There's so many better players.
There's fish everywhere, and you put me next to a guy with 20 million in career earnings on my left. Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
it's not cool at all."
You got him though, right? I'm guessing you stacked him.
Actually, he did double me up late in the day. We both advanced to day 3, but it was not. It was definitely a lock it up day for me with him on my left. Okay, we've gone story time through a handful of hands here.
Yes, we missed. Looks like a top pair for Jerwin against just the ace high for Jacob. So I don't imagine. Actually, how this pocket is so big? It's at $200. Looks like a pre. Okay, the pot.
Oh, we're getting rid of it though. No, we're getting rid of it.
Yeah, Jerwin's going to take it down.
I imagine it went raise, maybe double barrel type of situation.
Right.
And then ace-6 wisely gave up at the end.
And it's looking like, is this our first double straddle of the evening?
Yes.
The action
There
is,
we are for $10.
Yeah.
Is that that must be a triple straddle? George definitely wouldn't let us down there. So the $20 are on right now.
Okay, so yeah. Pete put the $5 on, Imas 10, and George with the opportunity. Straddle for 20.
He doesn't pass his up.
Let's go. Mike, such a nit. Had the chance to put the 40 on.
The last time somebody
Maybe
looked
not
at me like
correctly stacked.
and I felt like a runner
$40.
Such an endeavor.
The game will get a lot more towards all-ins for the open sizing. So when I try to straddle, I try to make it such that there's at least 50 big blinds, for the average stack left.
So it's a live 5.
Because if it gets to like a 10 big blind or 50 big blind break point, you can't play much poker after that, right?
Right. And yeah, I mean, I'm just messing with you, Mike. If he puts the 40 on, it's so
I
likely
respect him.
just gets back to him and he has to decide whether or not he's calling all in. And so yeah, you don't get to play
Like that. Yeah, like get the fuck out of
$40.
here. I just tell you to go out.
But let's see if this will drum up some action for us.
At these stack sizes, I think $20 straddle is very, very good. It's just enough that they can open at $60 and maybe play a 3-bet or a lot of flats. No real risk of anything going all in. I think the small stack is around $300 or $400, so I think $20 is just fine.
Triple straddle.
That's your story and you're sticking to it.
That's what drugs will do to you. Oh my god, good thing I don't
Chris is in the $1 small blind here with the queen jack
It's a thing
off.
that starts with a D.
This is an annoying situation. Yeah, folding is probably correct here, unless you want to put in a raise and then be out of position with queen jack offsuit.
We got a real hand.
Yeah, pocket 10s for Jacob. He's gonna raise it up. He's gonna make it. He's gonna make it 100.
A little big, but definitely a very good hand to get in there with.
Yeah, particularly his stacks. I mean, he's basically put in close to a third of his stack pre-flop here. Pete has pretty suited ace-deuce, but the game's not very deep at this point.
At this size, it's going to be tough to continue unless you've got premium as well. George
has 1,800 in front of him. And they'll maybe do it on
He wants to, but yeah.
Yeah.
And nice for Jacob taking down. Looks like $40 dead money or whatever it was.
There is a bad beat promotion going on at Red Star Social. That says October up there. I'm going to just assume that that's going to be good. November as well. Quads or better. Get 50 hours of seat time. Do the math on my head. That's
$1 million.
Yeah, okay, it's $1 million value, Neil says. So it's pretty good, pretty good. Let's see here. Quads in your hand in any 4-card game, I automatically get paid on that one. That's fine. Fun promotions down here at Red Star Social.
Yeah, that does include mostly the bomb pots. I think that's the only 4-card game that runs here. So if you ever play a bomb pot and then get the 4 cards, you get paid $200 on the spot. Nice little score for you. And then I'd say the 50 hours for the bad beat is effectively worth $500. Hourly here is about $10, so definitely good value there.
Yeah. Very affordable hourly here at Red Star Social.
I think it's the best.
Compare to other places around town. Yeah.
TCH is 12 and Lodge is 11. I
buy them in enough bulk. I know that Red Star will do $9 an hour for you.
What's the worst?
betting the
They
dark
bet,
move.
then you
All
can
five.
Going
Dark
on
bet move is
here.
suck.
Oh, we have pocket aces in play, ladies and gentlemen. Jerwin with an open. It was straddled by George. Open to 25 with pocket aces. George with the 7 deuce. Are we playing the 7 deuce game? Do we know? Is it on? The 7 deuce is in effect in this hand.
This girl a shot.
We are not sure if the 7 deuce. Well, George just auto mucked, so we're going to just go ahead and assume it was not the case here. But very generous of George to give the aces just a little piece of action. 7
I think for the 7 deuce
high.
game, whenever we try to get it running, there's always a bit of debate. You have to check that side of the table, this side of the table.
Yeah.
There's one guy that's hesitant, and then like 5 people that are like convincing him.
Yeah.
It's always like a massive debate going on. I don't think we saw that yet, but if we get it going,
Thank you.
it's crazy how much you want to see 7 deuce versus aces. If you're a player like me, at least. Aces is like secondary now.
I'd probably still keep the aces in my preferred hand.
Because you're a
class.
smart man.
But no, it is a fun game, and yeah, whoever, don't be that guy who's pushing back on the 7 deuce. So, particularly, I'm sure they were talking. What are we going to play? $5, $10? Is
I'd
the
expect the
bounty
same.
on?
$10.
It's $25. It's going to be. It's good for the game. You're going to, like I said, just play more, and it's probably going to pay off. Later.
Yeah, you'll do just fine if you just start to bluff catch more. You don't have to go nuts with the 7 deuce. Sometimes people get walks or even just open and take it down with 7 deuce. So I think it's just a good little novelty to have going in the game.
For the record, if we're playing the 7 deuce game and we catch you just open mucking it, we will make fun of you on the stream, okay? But there's no.
Goes without saying.
Yeah. There's no shame. Look, I make fun of people all the time. You shouldn't take it to heart. Krista is opened to 15 here with the suited A7 in clubs. Called on the button. Jacob has queens offsuit. Emas with a real hand here in the big blinds got pocket queens. Pete in there with the king jack as well. And Emas, what's the right 3-bet size here? When it's
I was about to ask
open?
you that. I go $90.
He's going to go a little smaller than that. It looks like 65, I think.
So
one way to look at it is
Oh, I see. If it goes full
yeah, I'm just thinking like you win a $15 pot multi-way.
and then for every other caller, go another initial
I like it.
increment of the first bet,
Let's do
right?
10 from each
So $60 plus 2 more $50 calls is $90. So that's just my default sizing.
65.
But you can, of course, vary that depending on how call-y the players or fold-y the players are behind you.
Yeah, who are the players and what are the stack sizes behind me? Because, I'm going to go at least 90, maybe even bigger than that with pocket queens.
I think bigger than that would be better, given
just
how much
love
action
calling.
we've seen.
Oh, and George has hit the jackpot here, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh.
George flatted the 65 with pocket eights. He's flopped top boat. Pete is in there with king high.
So is everyone doing that?
And
This is lights out for
he's
Emas.
checked, but Emas,
Okay with that? Yeah.
he's well covered by George as well here. It's going to be tough for him to not just put his stack in here.
Yeah, when in your in Emas' spot right now, you're not thinking about losing any hands. It's very hard for them to have any deuces in the range.
Right.
It's about how do you extract the value from them? How do you target, the pocket jacks, 10s, 9s, 8x, maybe even spades. So if I'm Emas and I see George showing interest right now, I'm,
Bet 110.
giving myself a high five in my head.
He's
He's
jamming it.
Wait. This is easy snap
Does
call.
George
Queens.
just know? Yeah, Queens, you really can't do anything here. You
This
just
shove
you're
is-
happy because
you are
think
ecstatic.
that he's got 9s, 10s, jacks,
Yeah,
and you're about to get some bad news.
that is very unfortunate for Emas. Like even right now, I'm just so sure I won the money.
I think they're negotiating a run it twice situation here, which
There's 2 outs.
yeah,
They are there. Maybe running 2s is a possibility too.
3. Are they running it 3 times?
They went for the 3 times. Okay, George is very nice. He's giving Emas a chance to maybe get back.
Yeah,
A little rebate.
1 or 3.
he's gonna miss
3. Alright, that's
first
so if I
2,
do 3, I
third time. This is where I'm like,
Oh, there's a
I
deuce.
want to do 3.
Okay.
4 times. You run 4
No,
times.
it's one more.
Let's run the deck out.
I
It's
said
fine. There's another queen in there somewhere, please. All right, so George, you know what? You called it, Neil. You said that first buy-in, you just dust that one off.
First one you don't care about.
It's a good.
George starts playing good on the second and
Right.
third bind.
It's just like stretching before you go for a nice run. All right, just
Gotta get loosened up.
yeah, just throw in one buy-in real quick, and George is gonna belt Emas there with the perfect flop, and he's got to have the largest stack of the table by a good margin.
He is up there now. I think around 2,500, 2,600, and just a really unfortunate spot for Emas. I think even if they had made it a bigger size in pre-flop, George sticks around with the pocket 8s, and
Yeah.
same outcome in the end.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's a good point.
Okay.
Emas getting a reload here. We are playing.
$10 a person.
Playing 1-2 no limit hold'em. The original buy-in was 200 to 1,000, but we can play match the stack here at Red Star Social. So he could go in, he could go up to cover George if he liked, but I believe he's buying it for like 900 or 1,000. And word is the deuce to 7 game is on, ladies and gentlemen. Do we know the bounty size on the game? $10.
Okay, $10. So same as the stand-up game, which makes sense for the 1-2 game, I believe.
Yeah. So if you win a hand with deuce to 7, whether you make the best hand or you bluff, you show it, and everybody at the table owes you $10.
And you get a load of the fans.
Right. The $80 is nice. Goes a long way.
But
but really, just the pride, the prestige, knowing you won with 7 deuce on live on the internet as well, Neil. That's how you become
pretty heavy stuff.
That's how you become a poker legend, ladies and gentlemen. All right, and so we got lots of playable hands here. Mike opened under the gun with king queen offsuit to $10.
Oh, look at this. That's lucky.
Oh,
Very
yes.
first hand, you get the 7 deuce, and Emas is not going to squander this opportunity.
He was 3-bet Jerwin king jack. Krista flatted with the ace queen.
Looks like the snappiest of snap folds too. Look at that.
Oh, it happened so quick.
So quick.
Emas with the 7 deuce. And he turned it over and is getting paid. Oh, yeah, they're paying him.
There it goes. That's kind of nice for Emas. It's kind of interesting timing, too. He just got stacked for a huge pot. So some players might think he was steaming when he did that. But most players just thought, like, I'm not going to mess with this guy. He just lost a big pot. He's probably going to be going bet that shove or putting me in a hard spot that call. So they just let him have it.
Perfect timing for the 7 deuce. And now that it's been shown down once, everybody's on high alert.
Yeah, the floodgates are open, hopefully. Now everyone saw how easy it was for him.
Yeah, that was the first one. He won 7 dude.
Bomb pot here again.
Probably not fresh in their head yet about it.
Just ready
Yeah, now we're aware.
What are the odds you just get it the first hand we were playing?
I'm ready.
The worst position too in
It's cool how
small
sometimes the
Like
bomb
you were
pot
super
is less
tilted.
action than the actual game, and then some pot, it's all the action in
big
the
hand.
game,
in the small blind.
depending on the lineup.
Whatever folds
So,
y'all make,
I don't know.
promise it
This
wasn't-
lineup, I'd say, with the 7 deuce on, I'd say the no limit variant is more action in general, but bomb pots are always a nice little break from the
I
monotony.
get by it. I get by it. I'm good.
Hello? No?
I would raise him.
Oh, he's in.
Did you look at your hand last hand?
Well done, sir.
You owe me $10 if you did.
We all gave him 10 because he had 7 deuce.
I had 7 deuce. I don't know if you looked at your hand. Were you here when they announced the 7
Ace
deuce game?
king for rainbow
Then that was
on
only
one
hand.
board,
So I guess you didn't see. I don't know, right?
and a 6-6-4 with 2 clubs on the other.
Yeah, I won the first hand.
See all these. George got pocket jacks in his hand,
The very first.
and a flush draw.
This is not the crazy hands. I don't think George can do much.
Four bet it. Four bet from the small blind.
I feel like it's just no that's just
Diamond, 6 of clubs.
So, quick pop quiz. What's the best pop quiz?
it should count no matter what. It's just about
It would be
Who's that? Look out for that. Next time I'm
pocket
gonna get one.
4s is what you want.
Definitely wasn't on anybody's
You want 6-4-4. Put me on the spot here, Neil.
Yeah,
That's,
that was a hard one. It just strictly at this point you want pocket aces, pocket 6s. But,
okay. Well, if you just want the whole dream, then
but if you, that's the whole dream.
Yeah.
More realistic, I'd say pocket 4s would be really good to have there.
yeah.
The thing about pocket 4s though is on the top board, every turn card could counterfeit your full house. As you see, Pete does have the pocket 6s in this spot, but he's got very little on the bottom board.
So yeah, he's got quads on one board. He's got that locked up, and in these situations, you're always
George
thinking,
gonna be in trouble here if you see his hand too.
oh, because he has turned a jacks full. He's got one out on that side, and yeah, you're really. I'm usually just trying to get everybody to fold, knowing that I'm probably not going to win the other half, and that is actually the case here as well, because Jacob, while Pete has got quads on one board, he cannot win the other side.
Yeah, so I guess there's two schools of thought there.
Multi-way here, you're trying to get other people to call.
Yes.
Is that what you're going to say, Neil?
Exactly, yeah. So I was going to say that in this spot, you know that every single, I guess, bet that the opponent puts in, you get half of that no matter what happens, right?
Right.
So if you're last to act, as Pete was here, seeing people call in front of you, just keep calling, knowing that any river bet, you will automatically get half of, because you have the nuts, right, on the top board. In certain spots, you do want to do what you just said, where, wait, what happened here? Oh, it just went the jacks do.
Yeah, jacks win the other board there.
That's right. Yeah. So in this spot, you just want to call, get as much value as you can from the other players that are effectively drawing down the top board. And then in other spots, you want to put money in the pot to try to get them off the bottom board, so you know for a fact you cannot win. Doesn't really help you with strategy. You can just say it depends.
Yeah.
On stuff.
Experience in the bomb piles. That's what's gonna pay off.
Like I was upset.
You need to come down and play yourself.
Half of my house.
Yeah,
Any other club is no home.
because I would have actually beat him.
All right, straddle for Derwin on again here.
I had, I had a spirit block would have been.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The 7 deuce is on. So that was a fold now.
Blocking would have been.
The very first hand was definitely
So I was like, wait.
Small blind, live spot, straddle blind.
And the action is he's folded to George in the small blind. He's got a very playable hand, 9-7 of hearts here. He's
Is that a bribe?
pre-tipping
Pre-tip
Daniel,
bribe?
which will work. And then he's going to limp here. Call the 5. Mike's going to call the 5 with Jack 3. And Jerwin, who's got the hearts dominated. 10-8. He's going to flop a gutter. However, George has got the 7 here, and Mike flopped the best hand. Jack. George is led for 10. Mike's immediately going to call that. They've been battling a little bit tonight already.
Look at that turn.
George just turns to
Doesn't
pair.
waste time.
He's going to donk. I guess he led the flop as well, so he's not donking. He's just going to bet. Is that 20? Yeah, that's 20. He's going to keep Mike in here. What's going to happen on the end here?
I can't imagine.
Or
Mike finds a
that
fold.
counterfeits George's 2 pairs. So Mike has the winner, but George going to continue. He has to know the 4 is not great for him, but says that's fine.
Also, interestingly enough, I think it was Jerwin. He was in there with 10-8, so he would have had the straight if he was to continue on the flop. Don't blame him for folding, but
Right.
at
Mike,
this point-
maybe a little snake bit here. He is he's put a lot of money into George's stack already, and is facing a $60 bet, a little under pot size here. Mike is smart and is not going to give up here. You can see that he got lucky.
This time he got
He
there.
got lucky this time.
The Jack 10 versus 7-5 definitely probably in the back of his head where he made the call last time, but
Yeah.
this time he made the correct call. And Jerwin is kicking himself right now. But I think he'll get over it.
Call showdown.
Ladies' night, Fridays and Sundays here at Red Star Social. That's 50% off hours. Is that the way that we operate here?
For the ladies, yes.
Yeah, for the ladies. I believe we're doing a live stream on Friday again. I'll be in the house for ladies' night, ladies.
Oh, there you go.
Come by and see me. Can't really see me. I'm in the closet way back there. Just wave to me while I'm on a bathroom break. How about that?
He'll commentate on your game. He'll give you, pointers. Maybe talk some shit. It's all in good fun. And you get the great value, 50% off. So that's effectively $5 per hour.
All right, stop me if you've heard this one before, but Chris has limped from middle position.
He does that. He's balanced from what we've seen.
Yeah, you know what?
So we cannot fault him.
Fair.
He did it with the jacks, then he did it with the 5-3 suited, so other players cannot be entirely sure what he has, but that does not stop Mike from raising up to round.
I believe it was Pete who raised it, actually. We're going to wait for the graphics to catch up here, but yeah, Mike. Has to be Chris
George,
limped.
you have a hand. Fold.
And then Pete raised him again, as he's been doing.
Raised it up. And he's called by Mike in the small blind.
Call 27.
No graphics this hand. Let's play along at home, ladies and gentlemen. If we can see, can you see the flop there? It's a king 4. I'm going to say 9. Looks rainbow. It is, I believe this was just heads up. I think Chris got out of there. So it checked to Pete, who was the aggressor pre-flop. He's made it 55. And
Jerwin as well has cards.
oh, excuse me, yeah.
So it was limp folded and then just, 3 ways now. But this board is better for the initial raiser. He's got all the ace, kings, aces. ace-king type holdings, so definitely expected to see him c-bet.
Time out, everybody.
See if Mike or Gerwin has anything to battle
considering.
with.
He's going to put some money in here. I believe that's a call.
Who you got? You got Mike or Pete?
Oh,
Oh no, actually,
I believe he raised it up. He must have raised it up. So I'm going to take Mike, Neil. I say Mike is going to, he's going to check raise the flop.
Good choice. Good choice.
Out here.
Go.
He is repping pretty narrow there. Pretty much sets.
Raise.
Yeah, no
For
draw
value.
really on the board.
Fold.
But it gets the job done either way.
Thank you. You're good. Thank you.
Wasn't 7 deuce though. He would have gladly shown that.
Oh, of course.
There are 5 players at this table.
Could have been Pete in 7 deuce, but he wouldn't give up that
Great
easy.
time for someone to win to do 7 game. Everybody come back.
Depends on what.
I gotta deal them in.
Yeah.
Or raise yourself, which
Yeah.
you don't need to go that crazy, I would think. So, okay, we do have the graphics back now, so we can definitely see these hands.
Krista's got the king 9 offsuit, a disciplined fold. That's it. That I play all the time.
That I love, yeah.
Yeah. Chris has limped again with the king of spades, 4 of diamonds.
I like this
and
little dynamic we're developing here.
Yeah.
Chris has limped maybe 8 or 9 hands or something like that. Pete has raised every single one of those hands.
And including this one, he's got 11. He's got the pocket aces, cranks it up to 25. Mike is on the button with the pretty jack-10 suited, and Chris is going to just say, I'll give you guys $2 at a time. No problem.
We'll let him duke it out. These are pretty even as far as aces goes. Like, this is the best, one of the best hands to have against aces. And you're not blocked in your suit.
Spot middle pair, all kinds of backdoors here. Did Pete just check it to Mike?
Playing the trap.
He did. Mike is going to check behind. Ooh,
Oh, look at that
ace
card.
of
That, I think is
diamonds.
the best card we could see in the deck.
It is now top set for Pete, who's going to check again. Mike has a royal flush draw here. He's going to bet, but only $25.
I imagine you have to raise here as Pete, right?
I mean, I've known her
You
for a
check
while.
twice. You have top set on a double flush draw board.
Is Mike just trying to figure out where he's at here? Does he think that the pair of jacks is good? He's just called, and now he's made quads on the end. If you've checked to this point, Pete,
Does he check the quads?
I mean, if you bet here, I think you have to check because you kind of are just repping an ace, and it's hard for your opponent really to do anything. You really need to give Mike the opportunity to bluff, if you ask me, as played.
Yeah, it's just such a strange line because what does he have here? Like,
Right.
He checked twice and then he just called a third size pot bet on the turn. This line makes very little sense because spades obviously were on the flop. You expect people to bet their flush on the flop. So as Mike, I am very curious about this bet, but you have diamonds, which is not what you want to have.
Right. If you're putting your opponent on some sort of miss, you're blocking his misses.
Yes. Very strangely played hand, but it worked out, I think, in that spot. Because if he does raise the turn, right, you imagine Mike has to continue no matter what the sizing is.
I mean, yeah. Once I've made a set, when I have a set of aces and there's just $25 going in on the turn, I'm just mad at myself. I'm saying, let's put some money in this pot. We are playing deep stack, no limit hold'em, guys. How am I going to get this money in? We're only putting $25 in on the turn. So yeah, I think you got to kick up the aggression at some point there, Pete.
I think turn would be best. The flop check I can understand sometimes. Maybe you want to be a little bit tricky at times, but on that turn, I do think it's mandatory to check raise there. You want to pump up the size of the pot for sure.
We're always talking about you.
But Mike got away pretty unscathed, I'd say.
Considering
Oh, you guys already have both?
what a crazy action turn card that was. You know what, let's go back and redo that one, guys. I feel like you guys always do.
I want to see this one. We have a 7 deuce for
It's
Jacob.
on. Here we go.
And Jacob has not been afraid to mix it up, so
He's raised it to $20. Has already been called by Pete with the
Okay, I
Queen
also
Jack
know the
offsuit.
Oasis. Yeah, it's like 45.
See if we get any other resistors in here.
poor Chris tried to limp and he's frustrated. He always gets raised.
Oh yeah, the inner space
But The 7 deuce has to go for it, so
Caves is what you said.
out of Jacob's hands.
Interspace cavern?
Heads up, the 7 deuce is out of position here. King 5-5.
He's
Pretty great flop, just to, yeah, put a little 3/4 pot bet out there.
I think
What is your opponent going to do
I
with
don't know.
Queen
I
High?
read billboards for
Snap fold. Again, once again, we are
$40. He went nearly the full size of the pot, and Pete says, I'm not
He
falling.
says that's fair. Let's see a turn.
And it's a king. If you're with the 7 deuce, you hate it, because what did you get called with? Or what did your opponent call you with?
Do some mushrooms.
A lot of kings, a lot of fives. You can't imagine that you can bluff this turn. I think you have to check now and then.
Are you going to give up, Jacob?
Oh, I want to go there.
He is checking here.
I tried
If
to
you're
get
Pete,
camping like 4 years ago.
I mean, you called with Queen High thinking that it was
UFO
good.
activity out there is what they say.
You just
Floated
want to
for a
get,
reason, I think. I just want to
get
get
a showdown, or
Just like one thing everyone has in common, I guess.
Better it is.
He does go for a stab. Okay,
no,
once again,
he's going to check behind.
Pete has faked this out so consistently today.
And if you're Jacob now, I mean, go for the glory, my man.
Now you go for it because you expect all his
Right.
full houses to bet the turn themselves, right? So now you want to target his ace highs, his maybe pocket sixes type hand.
And I would be considering an overbet here, just thinking there's no way that my opponent is checking a king behind. That's why so many people have my money at this club. He's doing it. He's going all in.
Well, yeah, nicely done.
305 into 125, and yeah, Pete can't do anything.
This is a very good sizing. It honestly puts fives in a hard spot, right? Because fives would have called the flop, maybe checked back the turn sometimes, and then now you'd be only a stone cold bluff.
Right.
Only a 7-2
All in and out.
And
he's thinking about this. When you're playing the 7 deuce game, you have to start thinking. He's asking him right now. You got the 7
Yeah,
deuce,
you got 7
man?
deuce.
What's going on here?
I think you want to call, but it's just such a hard call to make.
Yeah, I mean, because your opponent could just have ace high and just be trying to bluff.
You'd be
Now you
bluffing
can't
with
even.
worse.
Yeah,
That's
you
true.
can't even beat a lot of the bluff. And now Pete just hates.
Yeah, to
Hates
Pete's
life.
credit, he did suspect there. He did think about it, but I do think that that's too hard of a spot to call down in.
Jacob's going to collect the $10 from every player at the table,
Well,
but again, the $80 is nothing compared to the exuberant feeling of turning over that 7 deuce and just saying, "Look at what a genius I am."
It really does.
I got
yeah.
Queen High to fold.
Can't keep an eye here. We'll make it organized.
Yeah, I wonder what Pete was thinking he was trying to get to fold with that sizing.
That was such a
I imagine that he expects no kings to be there.
I mean, and it is, if you're in Jacob's seat, it is absolutely not a bad way to play a king. If you flop the top pair and then you fill up on the turn, and what does your opponent have? Give them a little patience, see what happens, and then when they don't do anything, you polarize yourself there on the end.
True. Yeah, I definitely liked it. So far, 2 7 deuces and
Yeah.
2.
Look at
happy
Jacob.
men.
Look how happy he is, ladies and gentlemen. This is the deuce to
He's
7
riding that high
game.
for like
Yeah.
rest of the game probably.
All right, Imas has got a pretty hand here. A 7-8 of spades. It's $12.
He did. He said it.
Or
When you said that, I was like,
Oh no.
it's always one more reason to call.
They could always just have 7 days.
Well, that's the point, right?
And Chris gonna get to see a flop with his 6-4
Good
suited
for
this
Chris.
time.
I'm rooting
Yeah,
for Chris here.
a lot of little cute suited connectors in this hand.
Same.
9-7-4
I don't care where it's
kind of
there.
touches everybody a little bit here.
Yeah, we got
George got an open ender. Imas with second pair here, and then a couple of. I guess Chris has got third pair with fours. And a gutter ball for Krista. What happened here?
Yeah, I think
Imas
Imas
bet
split out.
$23 with the middle pair. He was the pre-flop aggressor. Been called by George, who's open-ended, and it's probably going to be. Oh no, Krista is.
Chris is gonna peel with her with a gut shot.
Yeah, backdoor
which is not gonna be
clubs.
good. If she hits her gut shot, she will be very sad.
Yeah.
And then backdoor clubs.
6-ball
Oh,
on the
no.
turn.
Oh, no.
Oh
You
my gosh. I was just
What did
kidding,
you do,
guys.
Jason?
I was just kidding.
Why do you hate Krista so
I was
much?
just kidding, man.
And if you notice how good this card is, it's also a spade.
Yeah.
Meaning that Imas now has the flush draw with the open ender. So
$23 bet.
this, I will say, this is gonna be going all in. A lot of time on this turn.
Yeah, Imas has a pair, flush draw, open-ended straight draw.
What a turn card.
George has the nuts, and Krista.
It's like it's scripted.
Krista's got the bad end of the straight here. And it looks like Imas bet 80.
So historically, George
George
in these spots goes for all of it, as we saw with the pocket eights, the full house there. Does he go for all of it here when he has
grab
nuts?
some black chips, and I mean, when this gets back to
This is lights out for Krista.
This
She
gets back
has
to Krista.
Yeah, she has to go for it, and then Imas actually has a decision at that point.
she has 500 behind here. George has made it 280, so yeah, she really has no option other than just to get it in.
Yep, pretty mandatory.
Get the bad news that she is in fact drawing dead.
You do think in the back of your mind, like, if he has 10-8, I'm dead, but there's sets and 2-pair, you have to target those. Like, if you call the flop, it's because you expect your gut shot to be good, so.
Right, and it will. I was thinking for a moment it looks like a dead raise that Krista is going to make here, but Imas made it 80, so he will have the chance. I mean, he can pile more money in when it gets to him as well, but I don't. You have to figure that when you bet 3-bet and this is going to be an all-in, that somebody's got to straight.
It's going to be a big bet. I think Krista's going to think it over, but she will have to go all in. And then for Imas,
do you get away
I wonder
here?
if you get away from it, because you know that you're getting ridiculous odds, right? If they don't have a flush draw on either of their hands, which
Right.
they likely don't.
And
I think Krista would not go on with it here with a flush draw, given how snug she's played so far. And George has mostly raised good hands at this point.
It will be a dead raise back to George, so Imas doesn't have to worry. If he wants to call, I assume he's going to have to call 500 or 420 from Krista here. But yeah, she's all in. So he's going to have to call 427, and George will not be able to raise. So
that's a very good point. You're right. So he can save the remaining $400, see if he hits. That is a good point. As of right now, he's getting, if we do some quick math, he bet $80. Her all-in is 507, so it's about 427 to call to win. It's going to be 1,300. So
and it's going to be a little more than that because George is going to call as well behind, right? George's going to put an additional 200 in.
So 3-to-1-ish, a little bit over 3-to-1. Flush draws at this point, you're about 20% or so. He has an open ender too, which he doesn't know if that's good or not.
Right. And he's got 500 behind. You would presume that George will pay you off, so some implied odds in play here as well. I mean, you kind of hate life here, but Imas, you have so much hand.
I think you just do some math in your head, and then you just shrug and call. We know Imas is, I'm not sure if this weighs into his mind, but he is stuck. He did lose with the pocket queens and pocket eights, so he might want to be a little bit keen to make it back. We can see the cards, so we can see that mathematically he should call, but that's not as easy in the game, of course.
Yeah, I guess what you're most concerned about is somebody on a bigger flush draw than you, but I'm not sure. I mean, like an ace-9 of spades type hand.
Yeah, I think we don't think Krista has a flush draw because we don't think, given her play so far, that she's going to just go nuts with a flush draw randomly. And then George, raise your $80 bet. I would also probably weight that towards the value over flush draws. I think he's been calling with his draws mostly, right? But again, everyone's been very tricky, so it's hard to say.
482.
But yeah, if you think your opponents are unlikely to have spades, which Neil just made the case for, you kind of just have to do it.
I want the blood also, so I'm trying to influence the action from the booth back here.
You guys remember 4 minutes ago when I just said 6 and it came 6 of spades? I was just kidding, man. All right, I didn't mean to do that.
Look where you started.
I don't want to hurt people. All right.
You know Danny listens really well. He's got great hearing. What do you think? He's going to call or fold?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's. I don't know Imas, but he seems to be a sharp player who's at least, is going to do the math here and see that there's so much money in the pot, and it's.
There he goes.
He's going to call and.
Good call. He's probably also thinking that the 10 is probably good for him. It would be good for a chop for him, and maybe the 5 is even good for him. So, I would as well make the call, knowing that you are doing really good against sets and 2 pairs. And
if you hit a spade here, you're just jamming it.
Yep.
And he did.
That's a blackjack. What is it?
I think it's the king of spades. Let's get that graphic up there. I believe it is. You're going to live in suspense. Is it the king of spades? The king of clubs?
It says George won, and Imas has left the building. It seems he just ran out of there. So
okay, so
I don't think it's good for him.
It
just
was
grab his chips?
it was the king of clubs.
I thought you had it when
okay,
you
it was
said
a
one
club.
time.
Okay, so he must have
Two, but the baby one.
checked and George put it in and he just folded. Is that-
I think he grabbed his chips and he's already on the parking lot.
Okay.
He left pretty quickly.
A tough
Yeah,
run for
I
Imas.
was like,
Although
oh,
the
he said
graphic here
48.
says all in.
Maybe it was an 8.
Would he jam on the in?
I don't know.
Show up the turn
He
possibly.
might have just put it in on the turn, thinking,
Might as well get it in now.
right. If I'm gonna call here, he would have been left with 400 something behind.
So George gets all of it.
I don't know. I think that's a chance for you to get off of it for that 400.
I do think that's a Pilo spot. There's a lot of spots in Pilo where you are able to draw directly to your draw and not need to go all in, knowing that you can just fold if you don't hit, right?
Right.
So it's similar to that kind of spot. He went all in, looks like. I don't think he went all in on the river, right?
I mean, it certainly would make no sense when the king of clubs comes.
All on the turn.
Yeah, so he went all in on the turn. Which, that was a chance for you to save 400 Imas, but I'm not.
Well, yeah, hold on. I didn't say anything.
Tough. It's a cooler for sure.
Either way, it's a really hard spot for him.
Yeah.
And George, once
he
again,
said he's out?
he stacks
Okay.
2 players there. He's,
Well, then
up
that's
for-
her
he's cresting 3K now.
And I guess we can
Probably 4K.
pour one out for Krista as well, who
That's very
unfortunately got the nightmare card on the turn. Be careful playing those little bitty gut shots, kids. All right, be careful, because
They can be trouble.
yeah, every once
She
in a
got
while.
the dream card, and then she had to think about it for whatever, like 3 minutes or so.
Yeah.
But most of the time, that hand is going to be good. You're crushing the sets, the 2 pairs, and everything, right? So, just a bit unlucky for her there. You got 2 new players, right?
New player coming into seat 9. The graphic here says his name is Dennis. Are you familiar with this player? I recognize that face. This is a young rounder here.
This, yeah, I think he's a Ukrainian kid. I think he plays at the lodge mostly.
Yeah. I recognize him.
I know he's a college kid too. I remember talking to him once.
Him taking my chips to the cage. That was a dick move, Dennis. Not cool. Man. Not cool. And yeah, there are chips coming in.
I might be wrong about his nationality. I'm sorry.
C5. So
I do know I played with him at the lodge once or twice. I think he's a capable player. How about the other player in the 5 seat?
It looks like, does the graphic say Benjamin?
Benjamin, that's a good name. That's a good name.
Very clever. Let's see what happens here. George, who's got, you called it $4,100 on the table now. He's got pocket 3s. And it's just gonna limp with the pocket 3s, so it's no problem. Jerwin with 5-4 suited, pretty good.
George really took what I said to heart.
He did lose that first buy-in.
Yeah, that started off terribly for him,
Yeah.
and then he did not lose a pot for the past, like, it seems 2 hours or so.
Some good-looking hands here. Mr. Misdeal with the 10-9 offsuit. Here's the problem, though. When you have a limp from George. Okay, it looks like it was raised up here. Jacob is eventually going to make a 25 with the king-queen offsuit. But you just know that George is going to see the flop now, so you got to really have the goods to raise it up.
You're expecting to see a flop, and you're going to have to put in some bets to win.
Pete has flopped trips here, but it's no good because Mr. Misdeal has flopped a full house.
Oh, yes. Little unlucky for Pete there.
And
I don't see him getting away from this.
So Pete donked out here for $30 with the trips. Gonna be heads up to the turn, Mr. Misdeal. This is the moment you've been waiting for.
How does he play it? He's in position, so I think the call makes a lot more sense, right?
Yeah, and he's got, I believe, the original raiser still to act behind him.
Oh, he calls drawing dead.
Jacob did call with the. I mean, yeah, I guess he's got a gutter ball.
Oh no, that's just
boat over boat, ladies and gentlemen. 2 hands in a row here. We've got some real setup situations.
Back-to-back hands. Look at this, like straight over straight, and now full house over full house. Like
Pete has checked it here. He has to be trapping, right? And I think, yeah, Mr. Misdeal checked behind, just assuming nobody has anything. Let me give guys a chance to bluff. He is in position here. Jacob,
a little too trappy for my liking. I think you want to bet the turn so you can get the money in.
Get all the money in, exactly.
But it might still happen. Looking at Jacob's, or not Jacob's, looking at Mr. Misdeal's stack.
Yeah.
It's going to go bet and then hopefully ship. And then snap call, I'm guessing. So maybe he thought he had effectively a pot-sized bet to play for anyway, so he gets it all in the river.
He is going all in here. And yeah, if your opponent's, you know, it's when you have 10-9, it's unusual for your opponents really to have anything
you
to
have
call
all
you
the
with.
cards.
And oh yeah, Pete is saying, what is going on here, man? What is going on?
That is crazy, yeah. Back-to-back hands, just straight over straight, boat over boat.
Oh,
And this is Mr. Misty will get some back.
Fold.
I think Pete's been having a bit of a tough run too.
Mm-hmm.
He's been very aggressive. I think he's been raising the most for the flop so far, but it just hasn't panned out as much post flop.
237.
This is going to be the last hand that I can commentate, guys. So I'm gonna bounce out of here in just a moment. Not sure what the plan is going forward here.
Of a hand.
Yeah,
Last
let's
one.
do
We've already
it.
seen a couple, but you can never be too greedy.
Red Star Social Live, a couple times a week here. I believe there's going to be another stream on Friday night. Vicky and I will be commentating. That's NL Holdem, Dustin. That's the same thing. You can come on down to the Red Star. Burn it in 183 in Austin, Texas. Get your name on the list. Get in this game. Get on the right side of one of those coolers, what I would say.
You can be like George.
Yeah.
Just sitting pretty on over $4,000 at a 1-2 game.
Employ the George strategy. Dust off that first buy-in, no problem, and then just proceed to not miss.
Look at that stack.
The rest of the day. Oh, yeah.
That's the kind of stack you see at a 5-10 game.
That's the best feeling, D. I don't need to stack my chips in any sort of organized way because I cover you all.
You guys know what I got.
I cover you all.
Now I'm like trying to.
And I believe he's up to act here with Jack 6.
You can take a break for this one.
Live 5.
You're not gonna tell me to.
He doesn't want to, of course, but he will lay down Jack 6. Let's see a 7 deuce for this final hand.
This is called the I Hate Money game.
Jerwin's cranked it up to 20 with a couple of red deuces.
You guys were playing deuce 7.
Chris is calling with the ace 3 offsuit. And not exactly the most banger hands for my final one here. But, you know what?
We've had a couple already.
We've almost.
Probably not too much
gonna check. This could probably take the pot here, but he's gonna check behind.
Where'd you get all the money?
You have change coming. 2 players.
Chris has been very patient waiting for spots.
Board is paired here. Jerwin's going to check again and probably think that this is good for him. If Chris had a queen, he would have bet on the flop, right? So Jerwin's going to make a call here.
Check.
I think Chris was making a protection bet with his ace high. I don't expect him to bet the river very often. Probably goes check.
Check.
And the deuces are going to win. $80 pot. See, we played just regular ones here at Red Star Social
we
as
can
well,
calm down.
guys.
You
It
know,
doesn't have to
switch
be
gears.
crazy every time. Thank you guys for joining us, at least for the portion that I was here for. Neil, are you going to co-pilot? Are you going to pilot this thing home?
I'm going to go for another hour or so.
Okay.
We'll see if anyone else is coming in. But again,
All right.
Jason,
Absolutely. Good to
I will
see you, buddy.
next time.
Give him a fist bump. Let me turn this down. I see you guys soon.
Playing blind. Playing blind. I respect it. You gotta go all in on the riddle.
I think that's a bit of an overbet. But yeah.
Might have worked. It might have worked.
Might have worked.
Okay, so I'll try to take you guys down for another hour or so. We'll see how long the stream goes.
I don't know if you knew it. Well, don't worry, we'll figure that out.
We still do have the 7 deuce game on,
Dark and 2-7.
and we have some new players, so maybe some
That'd be
blood.
funny.
I'll just be done. I'm like, I'm cashing out. This doesn't get better than that.
The entertainment value. You can't come back from that. That'd be hard to come back from. Or top, really.
Yeah.
See George opened up to 15 with the queen 10 offsuit.
Raise to 15.
Definitely not taking any breaks here.
Fold. Fold.
And
Fold.
the 3-bet from Dennis
Fold.
to $100. This should get the job done.
Fold. Fold.
See some very weak hands.
Fold.
See if George gives this one up. He does.
Raise to 100. Fold. 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 Alright, bomb pot.
dead money with the 3-bet there.
Is Kim gonna play?
I don't know, she just got here.
And as you see here, we do have a weekly game, 5-5 no limit to 7 every single Saturday, as well as every single Monday. Very, very good games. This last Saturday game kind of got a little bit crazy. Definitely not my fault, but always good action there. And we go right back into a bomb pot.
9 players, first board.
We can already see that Dennis has a straight on the bottom. And I see a 2-pair for Mike on top.
7 of diamonds, 3 of clubs, 9 of diamonds.
Sherwin with a flush and open under, so no bets go in though. You see a turn card.
Check. Check, 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 and check. For the turn. 5 of clubs.
So bet from the straight, George will call with
Bet.
a straight, a set, and a flush draw on top. That is right. He does have a straight, a set, and a flush draw. Not much at the bottom.
Call 45. Call 45, full.
Okay, we go to the river with 33% for the straight on bottom. And everyone else playing looks like the top one for the most part.
Call. Fold. Call. Fold.
It looks like a brick actually on both somehow. Okay, no, clubs get there.
5 players.
Although no one has clubs. This is a good spot for Dennis for the straight and the king of clubs blocker to go pot.
Yeah. Ace of clubs.
He goes for the value sizing, looks like.
5.
This will... Is Mike going to job that actually?
Bet 150.
Very difficult call for George with 3 players behind him. He would chop the pot though if he were to call here. Yeah, he does make the fold. I think it might fold to Benjamin, who has a very tough call to be honest. I think this could get the job done to be honest with the about half pot or 40% pot bet at the end. Yeah, nicely done.
Fold. Fold. Fold, fold. Who, you?
I think I
Weirdo.
would have chopped with you.
Probably.
I just couldn't call with 2 people behind me.
I don't know. I think I might have to call her because you got
Okay, back to no limit.
You're at my table.
That's 7.
You're at
I
Kim's
think George
table?
with a massive side.
always thought
Sherwin
that,
with
like,
pretty good side as well around
I
1,000.
like it.
I thought they
And everyone else hovering around 500 to 1,000.
if it's flipped, I would have had
Definitely
nothing.
successful.
No, you wouldn't have.
I would have had a boat on the bottom, and I would have had the net straight on top. Or no, there was a four. You had the flush.
I would have had a. I would have had the 7-9 vote.
Big blind.
The bottom, I would have had aces full of jacks.
And we get Mike getting right into
But I would
it.
have sevens full of nines on the
Ace
bottom.
queen spades.
Or I mean on the top. Whatever, yeah.
Two pair on the bottom or who's that flush on this one?
But what I was saying is if they were flipped, I would have. Because then you would not have had
Bunch of
sevens.
playable hands
You
and
wouldn't have
slides behind.
seven
You get
full
called by
hands.
queen
The
8,
eight would have been on the bottom.
king
Raise
queen,
to 15, fold,
and
fold.
even ace 9.
I'm confused by what you're saying now. If the river's flipped, I have a vote.
I was talking about both, like turns and rivers.
So very good spot for
Okay,
Mike.
I still
He's
have the
got
vote if both
I mean,
are
it doesn't-
flipped.
everyone
I
dominated,
flopped
actually.
top too.
Call 15.
And not anymore. George has got there with the ace 9 offsuit,
On the bottom, I had,
but he's up against a lot of pretty good draws.
and I had a
Call
straight
15.
draw.
4 players.
Yeah, so I had straight in top two, and then it was too easy to be quartered with that river. So
Jacob stabs with the open-ender.
no, I had 7-9. So not only
That's not
did
going
I
to work
not
just
have
yet for
the
George.
nuts, but
Check, check.
anyone who had a 9 and a 3 was quartered.
Bet is 40.
Oh, look at this. Mike is going to peel as well. He's looking for probably a jack, maybe a jack of spades would be very ideal for him.
As usual for you, I mean, par for the course.
That is about as bricky as it gets. Let's see if George, or Jacob wants to continue bluffing. Okay, no free card for
43
everyone.
players.
And it might just go check, check again. Actually, no, it looks like George is going to go for some value, a little bit of blocker bet. And that should just get the job done.
Check. Check to the river.
This is kind of a clinic that George is putting on. I try to remember the last pot he lost. It felt years ago.
Bet 65.
Very good run from George.
Fold.
Let's see if anyone can put a stop to his reign of terror.
Chicken dinner. C5 is adding on 600. Thank you. C5.
Okay, looks like this pot we're going to have a $5 straddle to start us off. We've had some, let's see, the biggest pots I could think of was that straight over straight. That was definitely a very cool spot. I think that pot hit around 2,200 in the end, 2,100. Very next hand was boat over boat. That pot as well was
All black.
probably around 1,000. And then George had the other boat over the pocket queens. So a lot of big pots for this 1-2 game, as you can see.
Hey, shave his face. That's all it is. He looks like a Burger Bob character.
Okay, this is Benjamin's
Bob Burger
first
character.
open to
Bob
15
yeah,
to the pocket sevens.
Live 5, everybody. Live 5. You're like, who's that guy? Live 5. Buddha looks totally different without his beard. Raise. Sorry. Live 5, fold. Raise to 15. Fold, fold. Fold. Or call.
And we're going to go 3 ways to the flop. We have pretty action
black,
flop.
please.
Top set for Ben.
Fold.
Flush draw on 2 overs for Pete. And then Mike's also in there with a gut shot and the ace of diamonds.
Yeah, he has mouth surgery, so he's shaved. 3 players to the flop.
Oh, Pete's got a small stack. He can put it all in there. So it looks like we're just going to
Check.
go heads up unless Mike wants to get involved as well. I think Mike can safely lay this one down.
Bet 30. Raise all in.
And then we'll be off the races. I think these sevens is about a 4-1 favorite. Little under that.
100.
You know these diamonds is gone. Actually, a lot of diamonds are gone. And yeah, he's not gonna get there. We're running it looks like twice, 3 times maybe. No, just twice.
Call. Alright, no more action.
And yep, no diamonds to be seen,
Whatever you
so
want.
just
Two
full scoop
times. You
for
want to do
Ben.
2 times.
Pretty nice hand.
First, run out. And then push it up. Push it up.
And yeah, Pete had a pretty rough night. He was very aggressive. He was definitely playing a lot of hands. It just didn't go his way, so he's going to get out of there. We'll see if we get a new player in there for you guys.
Later, dude. And then seat 9 moving to seat 8.
And as you see, we do have Poker Face Ash coming in December 2nd, the same game that we're streaming right now, 1-2-1K match. I will be there that day as well. Unsure who will be joining me, but likely someone else you've seen on the streams. Looks like Vicky's gonna be joining us.
Who's that?
Back.
I am. I don't know about it.
Are you in school?
No.
I'm used to this way.
Are you in school?
Some big hands tonight. I will not be.
You can tell by your chips over there. But I did escape it recently. I did escape.
I can hear you, I think, briefly. Can you hear yourself?
You look like an escapee.
Fold.
2 days old beard.
What you did?
I can hear you, Neil.
Fold.
Not him.
You can hear me? Let me see the.
I hear you for sure.
Call 2. Raise to 20. Call 20.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Linda?
I can hear you loud and clear. What?
Fold.
Okay, so Vicky's gonna join us.
Fold.
You can. Yeah, when you're hearing me.
Fold.
on
2 players. Just swap.
I thought I heard you then.
Like almost 2 hours.
Hello. Okay, well, it's there.
Looks like we're good.
All right.
Feel free in the chat. People let us know if you can't hear
Check,
either
check,
of us.
mic, 1, 2.
I think we should be good. But yeah, the story of the night has been George. He's sitting on about 4,200, 4,300.
Really?
He has destroyed the game so
I
far.
was watching it a little bit earlier, and I saw a couple hands that he won.
Yeah, like the first, I'd say, the first 20 minutes he lost every hand. He got stacked for about $1,000 his first 1 bind or so, and then since then he's not lost a pot. I think he's won the past 2 hours straight.
Well, I felt real good with that.
Putting on a clinic so far. Just a new player's gonna come in to replace Pete. Pete was a bit unlucky, I think. He was very aggressive. He was raising a lot. I think he lost with, let's see, a flush draw versus set towards the end. Oh, he got boat overboated. He had 9-8 on 9-9-8-10 against Mr. Missteel's 9-10. So, pretty big cooler spot.
Let me see if that helps a lot.
That's better? You can hear yourself now?
I can actually hear myself.
Okay, nice.
So, yeah.
Hold'em is very different to commentate. I've been playing so much Deuce to 7 that I've kind of like had to remember
You're
the
like
game a little bit, so...
You're not getting bored or anything.
No, I've always loved Hold'em. It's just a very different game, like about the stuff you have to think about. But I'd say I still play a lot of Hold'em, at least tournaments-wise. I'm going to be going to Vegas actually on Friday. I'm going to try to maybe play some cash games there then.
Well, it's good seeing you, Neil. It was the last time I saw you.
I don't remember much of that. I don't know if I want to hear much of that.
I love you, Neil. We all love you.
Yeah, I was having fun last Saturday.
You were having a lot of fun on Saturday.
That's what happens here at Red Star. You know, you just come down and have a great time.
That's right.
Bulgaria, that's where Dennis is from, looks like.
Who's Dennis?
He's a newer player. He just came in. He's a young kid in the
Let's do 7, I swear to God.
7 or 8 seat. Where's that side of the table? Looks like the 8 seat. Yeah, I think 9 seat is going to be the new player coming in. And then the other new player was Ben in the seat 5, who's been doing pretty well already. I think he already stacked someone with a set of 7s.
Really? Quads of the day are 4s, by the way.
That is good to know.
That is the daily quads for today.
And what do you win for that?
$200.
$200 on the spot.
$200.
Good line.
And if you get quads in your hand in a bomb, like here it would be a bomb pot, but any 4-card game, so Pot Limit Omaha or a PLO bomb pot, quads in your hand pays $200.
That's right. I think it's $200 for the bomb pot. Is it 500 or is it 50 hours for the other one? I know it's like one of the two.
The 50 hours is the royal.
Oh, that's right, the royal
If you
flush,
get a
yes.
royal by the river, if you flop it, you get 100. There's also a bad beat promotion. I believe it's quads are better beaten. You get 50 hours.
That's the 50 hours.
Yes.
That's right.
Bad beat.
So plenty of promotions to try to win.
All right, look, Chris stuck around with 6-3. And he just flopped the nut straight at the moment.
Oh, good for Chris. So Chris has been very patient. He's been limping, trying to see flops. And it's not been working out so far, but this time...
no one else really has anything to stick around with, so
he's going to take it
a
down.
whopping-
Yeah, poor Chris. Just takes down a pot's a pot, right?
That's right.
A win's a
Gotta catch
win.
Steam somehow.
This is the start of
Stay
the
rolling.
comeback, right?
This is it. Oh,
It all starts somewhere.
Poker Face Ash is coming December 2nd.
Yes, I will be there that night.
Playing?
No, I'll be commenting again.
All right. Sounds like fun.
Same game as this one, too. And I'm not sure if the list is still open. I'm assuming it is, so feel free to check that out if you want to come down and play with her. As you see, the game does get pretty big, so make sure you bring some bullets. It looks like, the new player. I know, I just can't remember her name off the top of my head. But she's a regular here, right? She just came to seat 9. I know she's a regular.
That's Kim.
Kim, of course.
That's
All in Kim, right?
All in Kim.
Yes, so she's definitely a regular here. I have seen her run up some huge stacks as well.
Oh yeah,
Let's see if she can do it
she's the
tonight.
one that went to the match that game and ran up like
Is that the 12K?
400 and I think it was 8 or 9.
That's right.
Yeah.
I remember hearing about that game where it was like Ace versus Kings or something for a $9,000 pot in a 1-2 game. She's going to buy in for just a 500 to start us off, though.
That's a pretty serious hit.
All right, we got someone in the chat here, Steve, who's commentating tonight. This is Sticky Vicky, and do you have a nickname?
Just Neil so far.
Just Neil.
Keep
Your
it simple.
Christian name?
Yeah, my religious name
Yeah.
from India.
Not Christian.
Not Christian.
Do they kneel a lot there?
For prayer, yeah. I say they do.
There you go.
That's not how they spell it, though. I mean, I spelled with that same way without the
Minus
K.
K.
Minus the K, yeah.
Okay, well, Papa G's on a heater, 6-3 suited.
Also, Vicky, the 7 deuce game is on right now for $10 a pop.
So if you take a pot down with 7 deuce, they're gonna.
Everyone at the
pay
table will
everybody
pay you
out.
$10.
Okay.
Not relevant here, but we've had it twice so far, and each player has won for the 7 deuce so far.
Wow. Each player?
Each player that's had it, so the 2 players that have had it so far.
5 and give 1 card.
Over
wow,
here,
Jacob
though.
just did okay, got trippy.
Yes, but actually 2 trip 8s. Both Chris and Jacob have it.
Oh.
Unfortunately, this is likely to get chopped, given how
The king and the 9
yeah.
are kicking for both of them.
Only way it doesn't get chopped is if a 6 or a 3 comes in.
Correct. So, are you calling for a 6 or a 3?
I want.
If
so
I'm
Chris
Chris,
has been
I want a
struggling.
3. If I'm
Yeah.
Jacob, I want a 6. Oh, it's a 10. Let's see if that gets Mike into the action a little more. He had a 10. I don't think he can't think.
I
he's
think both
good
Chris
there.
and Jacob have been on the bad side of some.
Chris checks it, and
variance.
Jacob's gonna lead out for 75.
Chris threw his hands up in a little bit of frustration, but I think he will still have to call.
I mean, a straight gets there.
The straight does get there, but you beat effectively everything else except for.
You don't beat ace 8. You don't beat jack 8. You don't beat queen 8. King 8, 9 8, 10 8. There's a lot
They
of
all
eights
do
out
beat
there
you,
that
yes.
could beat you. What is Mike thinking about here?
He's thinking about
No.
the bluff, the 7 deuce. So that is in the back of everyone's head. That they could be
okay,
bluffing
Chris
you.
called, Chris called.
Good call. They will chop it
Chop
up.
it, chop.
But that is the effect of the game. Even if there's no 7 deuce actually in the hand at the moment, in the back of your head, you're wondering: are they bluffing me with 7 deuce? Do I have to call them to play defense for the rest of the table? Do I want to look like a
I
wimp?
mean, I guess 80 bucks is
stream.
80 bucks. It's a little crazier when it's for,
showdown.
you know, $100.
Yeah,
Like,
sometimes it's gone really big.
more crazy. I guess if it were a bigger game, or you know, if it got crazy and wild.
They did $10 for the Nick game, the stand-up game early on. So I think this is just a standard they're going to do. $10
did
for
a
any of the
stand-up
props.
game?
Yes, at the very start of the stream.
Because I see Mr.
very quiet.
standing up there.
We're
just
live.
at his own. Oh no, never mind.
He was the one that lost the first stand-up game, actually. It was him and George heads up at the very end, and George was able to take it down. But yeah, we did the stand-up game for the first 30 minutes or so. We started the Deuce to 7 game maybe about 30 minutes back, maybe 45 minutes back. I prefer the 7 Deuce game myself. Do you have a preference one way or another?
Oh, good for the stream.
I played the 7 Deuce game one time, but it was a
It's rags.
sorry,
So
it was a stand-up game.
Stand-up game,
It was
yes.
the stand-up game. Played it with our production manager.
I see, okay.
He kept trying to buy it and buy our house. And
You
then
don't
I
have to be my
think,
Masters.
I think I ended up being the next to last one to stand.
So you were heads up at the very end.
Yeah, we were heads up. I can't remember.
That's where it gets really tense. Because, of course, you lose $80 if they win a pot, but also the pride. You don't want to lose, you know, heads up there and have the title of the nit of the table, right?
Right. Definitely not.
Deuce to 7 game, though, on the
I'm
other
not
hand.
a nitty player, Neil.
Oh, I
don't
know
this.
that. I mean, we never played, but from what you've told me,
Correct. And everybody
Sticky
else.
Vicky tends to not be a name for a nit.
You swirled him into a shop.
Am I a nitty player, would you say?
Depends. When you're 1 sheet to the win, maybe. When you're 6 sheets to the
Oh,
win,
yeah. It definitely changes.
It doesn't mean you're not catching steam and you're not winning, but you're definitely bluffing more. I think the more fun
That
you're
is
having,
true.
the more bluffing.
I mean, that's for everyone, right? You want to get it more involved when you're
You like to gamble.
having more fun.
Oh, look at that tower in front of Papa G. All right.
That is a
Got
crazy
top
stack.
pair with a pretty good flush draw.
Yeah, he's not done. He's against his old nemesis, Mike. These guys have battled all night so far. George, as you can tell from the stack, has gotten the better of him so far, but he is behind very slightly as of right now. I think Mike wants to get some revenge.
I feel like nothing, there's no amount that's going to...
George will not fold
Not
for
folding.
anything in the world.
And he's probably just calling. He could be raising.
I think if he check called the flop, he will continue to check call. He wants to keep the bluffs in. He keeps all the flush draws that he
He just
dominates
wants
in.
that flush.
I wonder what happens if it was a brick at the end. That's not a brick, though.
Actually, no, that's a chopper.
Chop. George is very hard to beat tonight. And now Mike has to wonder what he's going to get value from. Only queen next to diamonds, so he might just check it down, yeah.
Yeah, super. I mean, the board pair, what, I mean, you've seen Papa G run
You could
like
have a four.
God.
You could very
What
well
if
have
he
a
had
four.
King 4, 2 4, like, yeah.
Not impossible at all. It's a little bit unfortunate. Mike is going to keep trying to get George eventually in a pot.
Anything else interesting happen recently?
Tonight, so there's been a bunch of big pots. The biggest pot we saw so far was one where, of course, George was going to take it down, but it was a 9-7-6-4 board with 2 spades. George had the nuts with 10-8. Krista, just 10-8 off, so no spade. Krista had a 5-3 smaller straight, 9-7-6-4. And then the other player, I forgot his name right now, but he had 8-7 of spades for open-ender with a spade draw as well. So they got it in for 600 for Krista, 1K for the other player, and then George, of course, had it covered. And George, of course, holds for
Oh my
about
goodness, so no
3K
spade
pots.
comes.
It was a brick
Wow.
offsuit king, yeah.
Interesting.
That was the biggest pot of the night, around 2,400, 2,500 maybe. And yeah, George just faded. I guess he wasn't fading that much, only a spade, because he had Krista drawing dead at that point. And then we had a boat over boat, which I mentioned, and then George again, he flopped the boat with pocket 8s on 8-2 against the same player with 8-7 spades.
Oh wait,
actually.
look, Ben wakes up with 7
Oh, there you go, there we go. So Ben is going to
See
have
how
to
he
go for
plays
it.
this. He 3 bets to 40. And
There he goes. He made a smaller 3-bet, but he's definitely going to at least try, and he's got a bunch of hands that block each other. So this could be good for him. With his stack size, 'cause Mike is very short, and so is Jacob. It's hard to go that hard in this pot because you can't really get them off that stack as they connect. But this is a board that I do expect a small bet, like a 1/3 size should be a good at least stab by Benjamin here.
so 2 people hitting a pair. Kim and
Yep.
Mike both hit
I
a pair.
guarantee you won't find a couple
But it's
Jacob's
bottom and
got
middle pair.
small
Just a small
strand
bet from
into your nuts.
Ben really wants this $80, I guess.
good for him. He's
Probably,
going
I
for,
think
yeah,
you'll
looks like
find better action
a
here.
40% size,
Hands down. Sorry.
which might get the job done right here. All in Kim, though, is not a folder, so maybe she'll see one at least.
She is a folder, but she tends to at least stick around to the turn, and if she can't catch any steam, she's not going to chase past the turn. But
Okay.
she's
She's not a
likely
folder
to
against
call.
me, I should say.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she's not folded against me, historically.
Because she's seen you bluff too much.
That's very true. She's right most of the time, too.
Doesn't believe you.
We get 2 calls, though, so now
Alright,
Ben's
so-
going to be a bit handcuffed because at this point, you imagine someone has an ace and you can't get them to fold
A
it.
10 or
so
6 would be really dramatic, but it's a jack.
Oh, that's going to mean Mike might just open rip.
2 pair.
Mike does go for the open rip here for...
I shall be right back,
Okay.
but please
I'll
tell me
hold
how
on
this
before-
used to 7.
I think you can see that. I think
I
it goes all in full fold, but I'll let you know for sure.
I'm pretty sure he can't call there. It's not worth the $80.
He's
Let
not-
it
he's
go.
not calling,
Let
no,
it
no.
go. All right, I'll be right back.
Okay, let's see Vicky in a second, and Kim will fold as well, so... Nice turn for Mike. He takes that one down. Pretty nice pot, too.
Fold. Fold.
Yeah, feel free to let us know in the chat if you can hear us a bit louder for the commentary or for anything else.
I did not.
We'll definitely be
Glad to know,
keeping a note of
because
that.
we only make that call on the assumption that you were also in a fold if the 10 is going to be. The 10 is going to be a pair and a...
Did you say yes and then no?
Okay, and it looks like we're going to jump into
He's like, yes, wait.
a
fuck,
bomb
this is
pot
live
right
shit.
here.
Bomb
Wait,
pot
what did I say?
guys.
Did you say yes and then no? Like, yes.
Yeah, you did.
To
But,
the 2 pair?
yeah.
I said no, I didn't flop it. I had a weird 2 pair.
Yeah, it's all good. No, it's what he said. Yeah. Nice hand. Like Jack 8.
Hey guys.
Yeah, Jack.
Let's get excited.
A bit of lag. Looks like we are... Okay, we're good now.
If I could have made it to the turn, I would have called her.
Where you had a 2 pair?
No, I had king, queen, heart of hearts.
What do you think I had?
Five.
You get away from that at that point.
Yeah,
Jack.
easy on that one. But on the
Yeah,
flop.
what do you have to turn?
Then I was like, okay, now I have a straight flush draw.
I'm just confused because you said you were
Alright,
calling
nine
with
players.
10. I mean, 6, 7 suited?
Okay, and we see the boards coming out. A lot of hearts. Let's see if anyone has the nut flush draw. Looks like Jerwin's got it. So Jerwin
Diamond.
will be very incentivized to take a stab at this pot. Unfortunately, there's a board pair on the bottom board, so it does just tech around.
Check, check. Check, check.
And Biggie's back, looks like.
Alright.
Yeah, that pot that you saw, of course, it just went bet by Mike, fold, and we got into this bomb pot. Looks like not any super strong hands.
C5, can you reach
We
down?
only have... Okay, so Dennis has a straight
Oh,
as
right,
well as a
bomb.
5.
Bomb.
Call 45. Fold. Call. Fold. Fold.
Jerwin can call once, but yeah, not very many ways for him to win both
Call.
Well,
boards.
he didn't vote at the bottom. And he has a straight at the top. But 8,
Alright, 4 players.
yeah, trip 8's no good. The straight for Dennis is going to be good at the top.
I think Dennis scoops, right? Oh no, the full house got there for George, of course. Who else?
Check.
George has a full house on the top now, and he's got...
Bet is 225.
George? 9. Oh, pocket 6s. Yeah, all right, I see it.
Yeah, this is a very tough call for
Straight,
Dennis
no
now.
good, never mind.
Did you think about
Actually, no, it's not tough. Dennis calls quickly. I guess he has the straight already, and then he's got the 5, so he knows for a fact that very difficult to lose both boards, so he does make a good call. He got rivered, actually, on the top board there as well. But that's George. You're not going to scoop George, you know?
Not tonight.
You can maybe get a chop
Definitely-
off of him, at
definitely not
best.
tonight.
So, like, all the things that we represented on the flop
full.
makes me push you a little
Do you
bit
prefer dealing deuces 7 or hold'em these days?
Deuce to 7 for sure. I don't know why. I've just gotten used to it now.
It's a lot funner, I think. Like you get the same
A lot
people, pretty much.
A lot of the same people. Sometimes y'all are really exciting. Sometimes you're not as exciting, but most of the time you're exciting. It's funny because as a dealer, right, you rotate. So you'll do deuce to
True.
7,
Yes. Yep.
and depending on how many tables we have, but when you switch, it's like this. Wow, I dealt that really fast because everyone only got 2 cards.
Yeah.
So you get used to deuce to 7, and then you go back to Holdem, and it's like, wait, what?
It's so much. It must be easier to deal Holdem, right? Like, there's Deuce 7 easier.
I mean, honestly, deuce 7's easy. You deal 5, and then you just.
And you
burn,
chill, right? You just
and
chill, actually.
You burn, and depending on however many I'll draw, it's a little easier.
That's true. Yeah.
A lot more mistakes I think can happen in Holdem. As in, you have 5 players, you check, you miss the big player, you bring out a turn 6. Things like that can occur when you're dealing Holdem, but like in deuce to 7 actually.
I forgot you got salted.
Was I there?
I think you had already gone to take a nap.
I see.
You
Okay.
had already gone to take a nap because it was just 3 of them or 4 of them left.
Okay. Yeah.
And I had just come back. But anyways, I burned because they bet we go to the pot. I burned and I
Flop.
flop.
That's what I was gonna say. The one thing I always see from dealers, like the first, hand or two, they sit down.
Right.
They always put the first bird. They always want to rip the flop. And they're always like, no.
And I think I did it one time. I burned. They're like, no. And you're like, okay, stop, mate.
Yeah.
The burn is off. We're good.
Yes, that's what we always for the very first 1 or 2 hands, and then they get back right into it.
But once you've
Where,
done it,
and sometimes I say nothing because I just want to see the flop.
yeah.
Everyone wants to see a flop.
Oh, that helped a lot. Now I can actually hear myself, Dustin. Thank you. What did you turn? Oh, I'm having trouble hearing me, but now they can
Steve,
hear
okay,
me.
let us know. MGP Steve. Hopefully it's good now. I think we just fixed.
Yeah, now I can hear myself in the headphones, but before I'm telling you I was struggling.
I thought I could hear you, but maybe it's in
No,
my
it's just
head.
me yelling in your head.
Oh, it's just, okay. You're just
My
right there,
physical
so
voice 'cause
yeah.
You're next to me, but okay, I hear myself now, guys. Hello.
Oh, we got a hand here actually too.
We do. Oh my gosh, what's going on? Who raised?
I believe
Ben, 3-bet. Ace King offsuit. Mike has queens.
So Mike opened to 15, Ben 3-bet to 50, George cold called to 50, and then the 4-bet's coming out to 165 now.
He's got queens.
I think there's only one move for Benjamin. Let's see how long he thinks it over before he says the magic words.
You think he's really gonna do that? I don't think so. He's gonna call.
Oh, really? He's not going to go all in. Wow. Interesting. So I guess he's against an under the gun.
I want to know what
4-bet.
George does here.
And now we can maybe bring George in. So I do see the value there. It's just that, do you just fold the flop if you don't hit an ace or a king?
Or pick up some kind of draw. I don't
The
know.
draws
Ace
for
King is
Ace
scary.
King
That's a lot of.
is-
I mean, he has over $800, I think. I don't know. I wouldn't. Aces or kings, yeah, jam. But with Ace King,
So let's put it this way. Let's say we go on for whatever it
let's
was.
run through scenarios.
$500. So how does Mike feel with the queens there? At that point, I mean, he's pretty committed. But at this point, there's only $300 behind anyways. So I think you want to get it in
All right,
now.
and George calls. Oh no, George folded, but he's
He folded and
holding to
yeah,
decide.
he folded and held.
He's like, I'm running like God. I want to show y'all later, and that's
Oh,
not
that's a
what.
sickening thing for Mike.
And
In your head,
now-
you're just thinking like, no ace, no king, no ace, no king.
Depending on how Ben wants to play this, though, because Mike is gonna bet.
This is the one
half
issue
of
also.
his stack, or
If you
is
hit
he
the
all
ace or
in?
king, you might not get value from the flips that you have to flip against, right? So Mike's very, very close to being committed, but I would recommend just going all in for this sizing. Mike at 4-bet to 165, so about a third of his stack.
But Ben just gonna flat here.
He does just flat.
He's either setting a trap or he do the club scare him. I don't know. But
No, he's definitely he's never folding. He just knows that.
yeah, smooth calling's gonna. I mean, Mike has 171 left. It looks like, although. Yeah, I guess it looks like he has a little more in his stack there than what the graphics are saying.
Oh, true. He's got a little bit more in green.
Yeah, it
Close to
does-
$300.
Yeah, it does look like closer to 3.
But at this point, Mike can maybe get away from this here. And I think Ace King is one of the hands you want to have in your 5-bet jamming range. If you only have aces and kings and no bluffs or no ace king, then people can play very perfectly against you and just fold the queens to the 5-bet, right? So I think Ace King is one of the best bluffing hands to have. It's actually a very good hand in general, and he just will take it down now.
He knew. Last thing you want to see when you got queens is an ace.
Yeah, like I wonder. I'm not gonna pretend to know the exact range you should be 5-betting there against under the gun 4-bet, but I'm gonna imagine it includes your nutted hands, which is aces, kings, ace, king, and then some bluffs like ace 5 suited type hands maybe too, if you want to be balanced. So if you flat ace king there, are you flatting your entire range? Are you flatting your aces there too, your kings there too?
Are you saying what would you do?
For me, so I'm jamming the ace king there all day. Like that's one of the hands you want. Pre-flop, yes. I mean.
So if Neil jams on you, he's got ace king.
I mean, that's one of the hands I could have.
Or 7 deuce. You'll never know.
Yes.
You gotta pay to.
There's a
see
7
it.
deuce game on as well. Everyone knows. So maybe someone's going that crazy.
For higher stakes,
it's
I can see jamming with 7 deuce. That's some crap I would do.
That's some very crazy stuff to do. I would not recommend that. But either way, nice pot that Ben will take down.
I played the 8 deuce game with someone who like put their own bounty if I could take a pot down with 8 deuce. You know what? For like 4 more hours, I never even got dealt 8 deuce.
That's the sad thing is like you're waiting for aces more than, or 8 deuce more than the aces,
right?
Right. Move down to aces, you're disappointed.
Yeah.
7 deuce, you're disappointed, and then finally
you're like,
8 deuce.
I can win, and I can get a bonus.
And you can talk shit. Yeah. And you get the street cred, which is so huge.
Yeah. Yep.
Steve says in the chat that should be a check 100% by Ben.
On the turn? You didn't want to see a river.
I think he's saying the turn, yeah. He's saying...
You didn't want to see a river.
Yeah. So, thing is, like, we're not afraid of flush draws that much. Flush draws are likely to jam themselves in the turn, so...
Ben didn't want to see a river. At that point, he was good. If he gets called, he thinks, oh, maybe the guy's got 2 pair or a set out here. But when Mike folded, like, he knew he was good. But, I mean, he did still have a couple outs, so... It's like avoid it. I've got it unlocked now. Let me take down this pot.
You gotta be greedy sometimes.
Yeah,
you want all the money. There was $300 left, so maybe if you check. Thing is, Mike had a hand that is not going to be continuing anyways. Queen's not a hand that you're going to be.
I feel like
jamming
the
with.
way they'd been betting, he could have come back with like, well, not really, because Mike didn't have that much in his stack. But if he had just come back with like $50, although well, it looks like we have another pot brewing here.
Okay, yeah. Jumping back into this one, looks like we have. A open
George.
From... Oh, George just has it. Never mind. George is in the pot, so we know what's going to happen.
And he takes it down. Although, like, he did make the right call with that suited when Mike just had those queens. I mean, he laid it down.
Oh, I think Steve is saying that the ace-king hand. So you're saying the turn, Steve, that the ace-king should check the turn back? That's what I imagine he's saying.
I mean, Mike was first to act, and Mike bet the flop. If I'm not mistaken,
Mike 4-bet opposition, yes.
Yeah, and then he bet the flop, and Ben just flatted.
That's right. Yep.
So when Mike checks the turn, that's when Ben goes for it, and Mike folded.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe
So
on
Steve,
the turn, if he had checked back. Maybe that would have made Mike barrel on the river is what he's saying. But
so
yeah.
Steve, Mike was out of position there, so Mike could not have gone check to. He let out on the flop, then he checked into Ben on the turn there. So the option there was for either Ben to check back the turn or Mike to initially check the flop. Honestly, this is going to sound very Doug Polk-esque, but I think all of it's fine. For me, the very interesting thing is pre-flop. Like if you have ace-king in your flatting range there, I don't think you're very deep, so at some stack depths, you can just flat ace-king, of course, but at that point, we were maybe like a pot-sized bet behind. I'm not sure if the graphic was right on the stack, but pre-flop, I jammed the ace-king, and then flop and turn. I can see what you're saying, Steve. It's tough for queens when the ace flops, though. Anyways.
We had a little bit of a pot. Kim's got pocket fives. They're ahead right now. Dennis with some overs. Mike's got an ace. Papa G. Nothing really.
Yep, I think Dennis just takes us down with a bet. No one else can really call with anything there, so the gutter 2 over card should get the job done. Anyways, back to that pot. Let's discuss it. We're gonna
just
dissect that hand
into
until
let's dissect it over and over. Till there's another one brewing. Give us some drama, Dan.
Okay, no. Steve says I looked away. I thought he had bet the flop and went Mike. Oh, okay. He thought it was the other way around for the position. Okay, I see.
Yeah, the position was Mike did But I mean, like I said, I think when Ben bet effectively putting Mike all in at the turn, it was he was willing to risk that much to see where he was. He figured, he doesn't have a set. He doesn't, whatever it was. The queen just that board is not what you want to see when you have queens. But,
with the ace king, there's very few bad cards that can come for you, honestly, because, again, like, there's a flush draw, but the flush draw is likely to jam itself on the turn. And also, it's a 4-bet pot, so I think the hands are going to be way more either ace X heavy or the pairs, right? So it's a very weird spot. I guess it depends on how you view Mike. Is he getting out of line with his 4-bets? I don't think players at this table have been getting out of line with their 4-bets at all. It's been very... I think the correct ranges you're going to see for 4-bets for the most part.
Has it been semi-nitty?
It has not been nitty. I would definitely not say that. Thinking back now, actually, the first 7 deuce that we saw, there was a 4-bet with the 7 deuce to $150. So that did happen, but nitty is definitely not the word I would describe.
All right, Kim wakes up with another pocket pair. She just had 5s. We're no good. Deuces.
She will try to set mine again.
You can sneak
but
up with deuces.
The main man, George, will make the call, so we're playing for second place now. No, just kidding. Let's see what we get over here for the flop. And I was kind of right.
Back 7, 8.
George gets a gutter and a flush draw. And that's probably going to bet out himself. Yeah, so George plays the deuce 7 game, but the way he's been running here, I wonder if he'll even bother in the future.
Oh, there it goes.
That's a big bet, too. Yep, just gets the job done again.
He's on fire,
he is
people.
He's very difficult to beat.
Right.
So we were saying back to dealing deuce 7 versus Holdem. I feel like deuce 7 is a lot easier because of just the amount of streets you play. In Holdem, you have to deal pre-flop, flop, turn, river. And
Right.
there's 4 rounds of betting, I guess if you count pre-flop.
Right.
And then for
For
deuce
y'all's
7,
pre-flop,
there's 2.
There's 2 rounds of betting, and there's a burn, and then the draw card.
Yeah, so effectively, deuce 7 is way better of a game in the sense of simplicity. In terms of the
It'll sometimes take a
action,
little bit longer.
people
Everyone's
definitely
wrong, 'cause you got to
people
deal out
definitely
5 cards.
think a lot more,
and then
right?
People think a lot more, and then
Because there's less information you have, right? So you only get like the one street of information. So longer decisions on average, I would say, on the post-draw phase. But there's only 2 streets, yeah. Yeah, you only get the pre-draw, post-draw. And the true rounds of betting, of course, too.
Yep. I feel like the speed on here is going back and forth for some reason. It's like slowing down a little and then speeding up and then slowing down. But Ben went to take a swig of his soda, I think, right in like slow mo.
And it just was like an action movie. Just
Yeah, or like Baywatch. Remember the slow intro?
Yep, when they're running on the beach. A little bit different here, but same idea. And okay, we're able to see the flop. It looks like we do have a nut flush draw.
They all have a
versus
deuce in
top
their
pair.
hand.
They do, but not the right deuce.
So Ben's got a pair of 10s, and All and Kim hit an ace with a really bad kicker. But they all have bad kickers. It's a battle of the kickers.
Let's see a 2. Let's see the case 2 again.
Well, I guess Jacob does have a flush draw. The nut flush draw.
He does, and that's not
Ooh,
it.
not,
If Kim just hangs on, she'll take this one down. But let's see how much pressure. That's no pressure at all, so she will bet herself.
She's gonna bet the ace. See where she's at. What you gonna do, Ben?
At this point, Ben can get away. But let's
Jacob's
see if Jacob.
gonna stick around with that
he's
flush draw.
the graphics not right. I think he added on some black chips. It says he's got 93, but it looks more like 400 or something with the 3 blacks.
I've seen at least 3 women in this
Okay, and he missed anyways, so
did.
looks like just check.
Check. Yeah, she's not very confident with that deuce. Especially with a call there. You're like, oh,
She
maybe
got max
he's got an
value.
ace and a 10.
Yeah,
or not
exactly.
a 10, but you know, what did he need? He needed a
A7 or better, and she would have lost.
7. Yeah.
So she knows that she got the max value from the draws, maybe the 10x, and then she'll take down the pot as it is there.
All these of them are hitting on you and you miss them all?
No, I don't miss them all. I just don't keep
What's
the
the dog
top
in
while
here?
I'm on the clock.
Where do you come from?
We have a guest.
It's game time. It's game time.
Oscar. Yeah.
That's why I try to only be here when I'm on the clock.
You're my buddy.
I stay out of trouble.
You can behave. Yeah, you can behave. He's such a good boy. He's such a good boy.
Whose dog?
It's our security guard's dog.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen Mila in a long time.
Actually, Mila was here the other day.
Oh, I missed it.
Yeah, Mila was here.
Don't tell me
the
she was
other
here
day.
Saturday and I missed it.
Oh
and
my
I just
gosh!
didn't see it.
You actually missed some drama. Actually, I think you might have left because you left. I didn't even see you leave Saturday
I
night.
kind of
Neil.
got out of there.
I was like, oh, he's still sleeping, and they're like, no, he got up, played like 3 hands, and went, I gotta go. And then I was like, damn, I didn't even see him. But we had a little bit of a scare Saturday night too. Not really a scare, but it was awkward.
What happened? Oh, we have George. I think he might be able to maybe talk to us in the booth for a couple minutes.
What?
Kind of like a post-game interview. Let's see if he's still playing. Maybe he's won enough for the night. Let's find out. And then we'll get to the drama as well. I think we all want to know what went down.
I'll take black.
Oh, when I said something crazy, yeah, I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
Hey, George, how you doing?
George,
You
Papa
wanna
G.
chat? Are you still playing or are you done? Oh, you're done? Okay, you want to come in for a second?
Would you like to commentate with Neil here for a little bit?
25.
Yes, please do. You can commentate on your own hands too, because there's a
We
delay.
can discuss some of the hands. There were some pretty cool ones today.
I'm gonna
I'd say.
step out with this beautiful dog. I'm gonna hand the mic off to Papa G.
Thanks. I thought he just put it in his well, so I was gonna give you
Call 25. Sir, there's a hand.
The security guard. So we do have Papa G joining us. He did just exit the game. I think you did pretty well, George. What do you think? Yeah, you started out pretty rough, I think. The first couple hands during the knit game, you couldn't get much going, and then I think you won one big hand against the guy to your right with the pocket 8s, I want to say. He had a pocket queens.
all your deck
I don't
collectors
know
are waiting.
many of the players by name at the game.
Yeah, same. A lot of players were new to me as well, but I want to talk about the straight hand, where I'm sure you remember the biggest pot of the night.
Yeah.
You had the 10-8. Krista had the 5-3, and then your opponent to your right, who you've been battling with, he had the 8-7 of spades. Just wondering, when Krista was tanking, what did you put her on? Because the bet went $80, $280 from you. Then she started to think about it for a long time. Did you like put her on a hand at that point, or?
Put her on the hand she had.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, so exactly like a straight or like
I put her on the low straight.
the low. Okay, yeah, because
I have the high straight, and it kind of, you know, for her to have that same straight, she can't have anything any bigger.
it's very hard. Yes,
than
you have the
my
nuts.
straight. I had the
You had the nuts at that point. Yes,
Yeah.
that's true. Yep.
So I'm thinking, well, it doesn't matter, but I didn't never put her on anything other than the low straight.
Okay, so against her, you knew you were good, and then after she went all in, then the guy, I can't remember the guy to your right's name. I want to say Pete or something.
Yeah.
He thinks about it for even longer.
Right.
What do you think he had at that point? Did you have a read on him, I guess, at this point?
Yeah, he has 2 pair max.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would agree, yeah.
Yeah,
He had, did he show his cards there, or did you not
No.
get to see him? Okay, you want to take a guess what he had?
What?
You want to take a guess, or you want me to tell you?
What do you?
He had the 8-7 of spades, so the turn was by far the best card in the deck for you, as in it gave Krista the second nut straight, and it gave him the flush draw with the open ender as well. So he had a very, very good turn card to go on. Yeah.
I don't
so
know whether it was the best card for me or not.
It was I guess it was a very good action card for the viewers at the very least,
For the-
because
yeah.
everyone else we wanted to see the all in. Also, just to clarify, did he go all in on the turn, or did he just call on the turn?
Just called.
He did. Then what
Yeah.
happened on the river?
He couldn't call.
So he just checked the river?
No, he folded when I went all in.
Oh, okay. So he
Yeah.
folded and he just took the remaining stack and just went home at
Yes.
that point.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that pot on the turn, I guess in his spot, the 8-7 of spades, would you have gone with it there with the, in his mind, he's got the flush draw and the open ender as well.
Right.
Do you think that's good enough to go with for, it was a pretty big pot, honestly.
Well, I think he has no choice with that hand.
I agree. Yeah.
You know, but to call, or you know, and then, but you know, if he doesn't hit, he has to do what he did.
Just can't do anything. Yeah. Yeah.
Take what money
take the
he got
money
left
leave.
and go home.
I agree. Yeah. Like at that point, if he does the math, like it's about $400 for him to call to win effectively close to $1,300, given that you're going to call the all in, and Chris is already all in for more. So odds wise, he was definitely getting the right price to call. The second biggest pot that we had with you was the, let me think, was it the full house versus full house? Yeah, the pocket, I want to say the pocket eights you had versus pocket queens versus the same opponent.
Right.
That pot was a lot more straightforward, right? Because he raised before the flop comes 8 deuce deuce. He bets out the flop for like 100 or something.
Yeah.
And you just go all in.
Yeah.
Do you ever slow play there, or do you think just at that point it's better to just go for it?
I think it's better for me just to go for it because I don't want him to catch it. If he's got jacks and deuces, then I don't want him to catch up.
Yep.
You know, so I'm just trying to get him out.
Okay, and then you might get called by the whatever aces and kings, and you're just way ahead.
I'm way ahead
in general, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That was, I think, the start of your big comeback. Because after that point, I can't recall you. We haven't seen the last hands yet, but I don't recall you losing a pot till pretty much now. Is that about right?
That's about right.
That's right. Yeah, it was a good run.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a good run there for a while. I needed it.
Oh yeah.
But it was definitely one of the better runs I've been on here. So I'm okay with it.
This was very fun to watch. I would ask, given how good this game went today, do you still prefer deuce to 7, or do you prefer the Hold'em in general?
Well, I think there's more money in deuce to 7. You know, just outright more money. But the players are also, you can also run into better players.
I would agree with that.
In
Yes.
deuce to 7. So you kind of, if you don't have good cards in deuce to 7, really good cards,
it can get expensive.
Yeah. And you know, been on both sides of that.
Same for me as well. Like I think on Saturday we had the one pot between us where we went all in 4 ways. Me, you, E, and Victor, of course. And then I drew a 9, and I believe you drew an 8.
An 8.
Yeah, you drew the 8 there. Yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes. Like I think that was a 4-way all in for $500 each. So deuce to 7, that can happen. Over here though, running a 4K stack is pretty rare in general, I'd say. Have you done this before in this sort of game?
No. Not a 4K stack, no.
It is difficult.
Yeah, it's hard to do, yeah. In this format, it's probably easier to do because it's no limit.
Yes.
You have, when you sit down, there's 3 or 4 grand on the table.
Oh, let me just interrupt you for a second. We've got a big pot here with, looks like top pair, top kicker for Jacob, but he's against the overpair Mr. Misdeal. I don't see him getting away from this. There's about a pot-sized bet remaining. Oh, but then we get that river card. Both players absolutely hate that river card. It probably just goes check, check now. Okay, never mind. He was able to save his last, about $500 or so got a bit saved by those turn river cards. But yeah, as you were saying about the no limit, so we're actually doing another no limit stream this Friday, and then we're doing another one on December 2nd with the vlogger Pokerface Ash. Are you going to be playing any of those as well?
I'm going to try to play this Friday, and I think I have a pretty good chance of playing this Friday, but December 2nd one, no. From here on out, after Thanksgiving, I'll be hosting or guiding.
Okay. Moving on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, moving on.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Here you go, guys. Thanks
Okay,
a lot.
George, thanks so much for coming in with us and talking to us. Great run tonight.
Thank you.
I'll probably see you very soon, either Wednesday or maybe Friday, of course.
I would imagine. I'll run into you.
Okay, guys. That was Papa G coming in, chatting with us for a couple minutes. And I did get word from the producer that we got about 30 minutes or so. We might be wrapping up then. Yeah, thanks, George. So we are getting pretty close to the end of the stream. We did definitely have some big pots. Let's see if we get any more before we finish up for the day. You like it's cool, right? Yeah, it's fun. The Deuce 7 game also, I think, was a very good touch in this game. You like the Deuce 7 game in general? No, it's the game in the Hold'em, yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, that is a lot. Damn. Yeah, that is quite the sum of money to lose. Like in one hand, he tried to like Okay, that is a lot. Okay, I mean that could be an argument for why it's good. You know, depending on the perspective. Like if I guess if it's not you, then it could change your whole That's a lot. Okay, that's fair. George is letting us know that he's played a Deuce 7 game where an amount of $140,000 was lost in a singular pot trying to bluff someone off. So there will be blood in this game. And if you're on the right end of that, that could be great. But of course, you could be on the bad end, of course, of that as well. So yeah, that is crazy. I've never seen a pot quite that big. What stakes were you playing? What stakes were you playing for that game?
We were just asking, so I figure you're not sitting this one out.
510. I'm guessing at the win. For only uncapped 510 in Vegas, right? That is crazy. So they were in for hundreds of thousands of dollars or something. Wow. Those win games, they get really deep. I played in some of them, but that even for like the standard win game, like that is a very, very big amount. Were there any pros in that game, or did you know the guy that lost the money?
I knew him from TV.
Oh, you know his name? Oh, okay, I see. Damn. Okay, so it was like a TV pro or maybe like a personality. That's really cool to hear about. Like I always wondered about or speculated about how big those games can actually get, especially the uncapped games. I know Resort World also does an uncapped game. I think theirs is really big too. But the Win, I want to say they are the best casino in Vegas for poker. Would you agree? I think that's where everyone usually goes to play no limit cash in the tournaments at the very least. Also, Venetian is very good for the tournaments. Yep, same. Yeah. I play mostly 2, 5, 5, 10. Yeah. We see you, speaking of action, we see you have top pair on both over here. Not very much for anyone else. I see... Okay, we got the trip threes for Ben. But I don't anticipate a very big pot here. I'm guessing this is one of your final hands before you left.
That is 40.
And yes, looks like Chris is going to take it down with... Oh no, you're okay. You're going to defend with your... You have a very good PLO hand. Ace, King, Queen, 10. But of course, that shrivels up in value when the boards are dealt for the bomb pot, unfortunately.
Showed the dealer my hand. Because
Okay.
I was kind of like, see my hand.
Like, what a
on my
waste
face.
on the bomb pot, yeah.
What a waste.
I feel the same way for in Deuce 7, like when we're playing Big O. And I'm sure you've got the same thing where you get like a Pat 8 or Pat 9.
Oh, yeah.
And you're just so tilted immediately that you can't even like focus on the Big O hand anymore.
Nothing. Yeah.
That's my favorite, actually.
It is. You play it well, though. I'll just stop playing it because it just upsets me so.
This game, it's I think one of the more tilting games you'll get because, again, one of the more tilting things you'll find is when you have a good draw, let's say you have like a 4, 5, 6, 8, you always get your straight, right? Like it feels like you always get the straight. It's just crazy how that happens. Yeah. You always pair when you don't want it. It's why the game is like, it's kind of like a love-hate thing. I'm currently on love, but it's very easy to swing between both sides.
That's 2 times I played with you. You've been in love.
Wow, yep.
All right, guys.
Fair enough. Thanks again, George.
Good night. Yep,
All
my
right,
pleasure.
We'll see you later.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, and that'll be George out. We're going to follow the rest of this hand. It looks like there is 2 flushes. Chris finally, he's got the nut flush over Kim's 3rd nut flush. And there's also a club draw on the other board, so they will have to continue. We could see a bigger pot coming up. Yeah, Kim's going to go for it herself. She'll just leave the 200, and then Chris, obviously, with the nuts. Or actually, he's got the nut clubs. Oh, and Ben actually got the full house. So Ben is... So Ben's got the top board locked up, and then... Oh, Vicky's coming back in for this bomb pot. So if Chris calls, he will be ahead because he has the bigger 2 pair and bigger flush draw on the bottom. but given this action, it's a very difficult call to make. And if he folds, then Kim is going to be the favorite to take down half the pot. Let's see if Chris can make the good call here. It's very difficult, though. And Vicky's coming back in.
I'm back. Oh,
Oscar,
yeah,
who's very comfortable, it seems.
Yes, he is.
And we're in a very hard spot for Chris right now where if he were to make this call, effectively go all in, he'd be very likely to get at least half the pot, but he's facing a pot and a call. What do you think he's going to do, Vicky?
Okay, so let me just see if I'm seeing this right. All he has, well, he does have the nut flush at the top board, and he's got a nut flush draw with top pair on the bottom.
Yep, 2 pair on the bottom.
Aces and 6. I couldn't tell if he had pocket 8s in his hand or not.
Yeah, he's got 2 pair there and no straight draws, actually. Oh, he makes a fold.
No way.
That's going to hurt when he sees the cards.
How did he lay that down? What does... So a 7 high flush is what Kim has. Okay, well, an 8 got there. So does anyone have 9, 10?
So Kim had the 10 high flush, and she checked it over. There's more money to play behind, actually. Now Ben is going to go for just small value. Kim, I think, can call this pretty safely.
Yeah, the double paired board. There's 2 kings, 2 3s. I mean, does Kim think her 7-10 flush is good? That's the... Kim might fold here.
She's thinking that between her Jack 7 and her 7 high flush, she's hoping one of them is good, and given the price that he's laying to her...
Oh, I guess Ben does have deuce 3, so he did have a boat on the turn.
He does. He does have the boat, yes.
Sorry, it was taking me a minute to catch up there.
Yeah, but from Kim's side, she's getting exactly 4 to 1, 300 to win. I think there was 900 in there already, so it's 300 to win, 1,200 total now. He's giving her very good odds to call. I think he's hoping that she has, I guess, a flush or king X with nothing on bottom. It does work either way. Nicely done.
Did she call?
She made the fold for the 300.
Wow, she showed it. Or maybe not. It's hard to read the graphics. It looks like they're showing the cards when they're face down.
Oh, I think in this case she just went face down.
Okay.
But she was very suspicious as she folded.
Yeah, she felt a little, damn. Why? What? Oh, Chris is going to beat himself up later when he watches this.
Chris didn't see it right now, but when he watches it, yeah, he would have ended up taking down half the pot.
Still probably made the right call at that time.
I think making the fold there is very reasonable. You're facing a pot and a call. You can assume that you're dead on top, which is a paired board, and on bottom, your 2 pair is not likely to be good. There's straight draws and other stuff that could be beating you already. Sets can be beating you already, so I don't fault him at all for the fold. It's just a little bit unlucky how it worked out.
Right. You never know. Those bomb pots are extremely dangerous.
They get really expensive really fast. I do see Steve in the chat saying, if nobody's wearing a cool hat, how do people know who to root for? Great question. Very cool, good question.
Well, that's because Steve wears a different hat every time he comes in.
Oh, he does? Okay.
For the longest time, it was like the steampunk hat. But he does. He has got one with a nice little feather in it.
You got to mix it up.
He's got some pretty cool caps, man.
Yeah, I definitely value the hat game, the accessory game. I go for some glasses sometimes, some hats, sweatshirts also. I like to mix in.
Yeah, you were wearing a pretty cool shirt and hat on Saturday.
I went for the hat. Yeah.
I think you had a Dallas Cowboy hat. I thought it was an Aggie shirt, but I don't think it was. Now that I think back.
I think it was one of my favorite shirts. I think it was probably Abercrombie, something like that.
No, I mean, I don't know. It was weird. It had some printing on the front, but I thought it was like, because it was almost in like maroon. It was like white with like maroon and white letters.
Okay, I
what
forgot
was
exactly
that?
where it's from, but it's one of my go-to shirts for poker.
Okay.
You gotta go for comfort when you're playing.
Yeah. Yeah. I go for cleavage when I play.
That does help the game too. I think you could do that. I think that day you lost a chip there though.
Hey, Mike's got 7 deuce here. It is suited, but like all that red is diamonds on the board, not hearts. So like
he's going for a stab here, but Tat, a new player that just came in.
Oh, Tat, we love Tat.
He has a gut shot and a diamond, so I don't think we're gonna lose him just yet. And I am very wrong.
Oh, we did. We did. The 7 deuce game is strong, guys. Let's
and
see.
Chris,
oh,
and it's no
I get to see it.
opposition.
And he flops it over.
Yep, there you go,
7
Mike.
Deuce.
Just nicely done. Just one bet. takes it down.
Here comes all the $10.
He risks $20 to win 80 or whatever it is. I think it's a full
70
table.
maybe. I mean, I see chips from George, so I don't know if George is obligated to pay him.
I think
but,
George at this point is currently walking towards us to talk. At this stage. He comes in
oh,
for a bit.
yeah, right. But
He did come in. He
chips are on the table. Does that mean he owes the bounty?
I think the rule is if you are not dealt in, you are not able to play defense. So you're not liable.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I think
that
at this
would make
point,
the most sense.
yeah, like you need to be able to, defend your honor, right, in the game. I think at this point he's talking about the hands. He also told us that he doesn't like the 7 deuce game because he's witnessed someone lose $140,000 in a single hand in that game.
Really, to get the bounty.
To bluff,
like
try to bluff someone off to get the bounty, exactly. So he said at that point, it's a little bit too crazy for him, which I definitely respect.
I mean, when you level it at $10, though, it can't do too much damage.
$10 I think is fine. You're not going to get fleeced for that much. The biggest I've played is maybe like a 2-5 version where we did like $25 or $50 per person, which is a bit bigger, but relative to the stakes of the game, not that crazy. And there goes Oscar.
Oscar.
Okay, so we're winding down for the night. I think we've got about 20 or so left. Let's see if we can get some action towards the end. We have an open, and looks like everyone calls. We get a 6-way pot with a bunch of... Everyone's live. No, they're not. We have a queen jack, a queen 10, and a king 10. So
hold on,
we are not fully live.
I'm gonna go let Oscar out real quick.
Okay,
So.
Vic will be right back. In the meantime, it looks like this pot, no one flopped a single thing at all, not even a pair, apart from the pair of 5s, of course. So it's just gonna matter, or come down to who wants it most. As of right now, no one really wants it. Actually, Tat gets there with the pair of 4s on the turn. He is now the overwhelming favorite until the 10. And pretty clear spot for value for... Oh, I guess he checked it. They're just going to check it down, and the 10 will take it down with the king kicker.
Check. Quad.
You were the person I was counting on the bluff at it, but I see why.
Okay, so I did get notice from the producer. We're doing 2 more hands. We're doing this button. Oh, one more full round, actually. Never mind. A little bit behind. So we got a full round left. Gotcha. Okay. So we do have enough hands for some action, hopefully. Let's see what we find.
In 3 hours.
As I said, no math at the table.
How long does it go?
I don't know. So deuce to 7 went to 6. I think they go until you guys don't want it anymore.
Went till 6 in the morning?
And George is officially out there. All that remains is his monstrous stack, which he'll collect at some point.
That's why I said... Okay, hold on.
I don't know.
That's not a straddle pass.
Dustin doesn't usually
No.
go more than till like 10 or something.
Oh.
I'd be fine.
Yeah, I said the deuce to 7 went for 6 hours.
And we got a... I don't think we have a straddle, just a straight open to 30 from Tat for the jack 9. He gets a queen jack suited to fold, actually. So we got the dominating hand to fold, and he gets the pair of 4s to call.
Oh, is there a time limit on today's live stream? Fold? Fold?
So roughly...
Did I
coin
miss
flip.
anything? Sorry.
No, pretty small pot. We got a pretty much coin flip here where 4s is still in the lead, but I don't think Tat's going to let that fly. And that should just take it down. Yep, snap fold from Jacob.
Nice. Tat was not scared of that ace.
Tat loved the ace, and he shows it
did?
too. He loved it to bluff with. And also, Vicky, we're down to exactly 1 orbit left, so next time the button is on Kim will be the final hand.
All right.
No?
Do you know all the players here? Have they all come before, or are there any new faces for you?
Okay, so now Jack is in George's seat. Yeah, I know Jack. I know Mike. I know Tat.
I'm learning, Daniel.
Sorry, not Jack. George. I know George.
I
know Mike.
I figured.
I know
You
Tat.
George. Mike, I think, has played before.
Ben, I know Ben. I know Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And Jacob, I know. And I think who's in 8? Jerwin.
Jerwin, yeah.
I feel like I do know the face.
Yeah.
He doesn't play her that often, but I do recognize the face, yes.
He's been very solid, I think, so far. I think Seed 8 is a newer player. Name is Dennis.
Okay.
He might be a little bit newer to Red Star.
Does Dennis have a hat on?
I don't think he does.
Oh, all right.
Just the hoodie look, the classic.
I mean, I told the guy behind the mic, and if there was, they'd probably pick him up.
Does anyone wake up with a premium? I mean, I guess Queen 8 suited.
I think you missed all the coolers. They were here for pretty much Jason's run. We had like 2 in a row. Like the first hand was straight over straight.
I was trying to watch y'all out there while I was, and there was a little bit of lag. Plus, it was kind of hard to hear y'all just a little.
Yeah, I think we fixed that. Hopefully at this point.
I was in the comments, and y'all didn't even read them. I was the first one to comment for like.
Steve's been just talking to himself in the chat.
No, but like in the beginning,
no,
I was the only one to comment. I think I was when I walked in here. I was still the only comments up there until I jumped in. Yeah, if you go to the top, I was like, hey, my 2 favorite commentators. No, right at the top. Go all the way to the top. I was the first person. Yeah, that's me.
Oh, that is you.
Yeah,
okay.
my 2 favorite
sorry,
commentators.
Did we shout you out or no?
No, I didn't hear it.
Maybe Jason. I think Jason might have done it.
Okay. I miss Jason. I cannot wait Friday.
Yes, he's
going to do another live stream, and I will be
the same
here.
game as well.
Right. Well, me and Jason did the first one, and we have not made it back together.
Oh, really?
Since the first one. So.
Okay, right. Yeah, I think Jason said he did the one with you, the one with me, and this was his 3rd one ever since then. So we've had like Pip come in, I think, like everyone, or I guess random people come in.
Pip
maybe
and Mario.
Mario, I think maybe some.
Clem did take over for me once with you.
No,
yeah.
I never did with Clem.
Yes, he did. Well, he stepped in for me.
Really?
It was the Big O. Did you do the Big O
I didn't do the
one?
Big O. I only did this.
Oh, never mind. That was at Lerma.
Yep.
That was Lerma. That was on Halloween night.
You guys did a Big O. I didn't know that. How did that stream go?
Oh, it was pretty interesting.
Who was like the same players?
Was it Big O? Yeah, it was Big O because like Lerma plays Big O all the time.
Okay,
it was not huge action, I don't think, but we saw some pretty. We had fun. It was Halloween
Big O's
night.
a good game. Like I was getting really into Big O until Deuce 7
came out, and then you got.
And I just forgot about Big O.
Yeah,
yeah. It was kind of like Big O was gonna be probably the big game, but Deuce 7.
Well, Lerma and Clem, I think both loved that game a lot.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people that prefer it. They do.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, Clem. The thing was, Clem was here to give the dealer a break on the live stream, and he popped his head in here and said, okay, cool, jump on in.
Oh,
and I
okay.
said, well,
so
they love the game. I'm gonna let them.
Much.
I was like, you're gonna be great. I'm just gonna let them go at it. And then they were like, no, you gotta come back. Oh, okay. And so Clem then got in the box. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, Big O was, I think, a very good game to play as well. It's just the big thing for me is it's pot limit, right? And no limit Deuce 7, of course, no limit. So
it's pot limit, but it's also a split pot game.
It's also a split pot game, yeah, true. So like no limit for me is just more catering to my style. So I was always gonna be a bigger fan of that. But
so
I know
huge risks, huge rewards.
Yeah, like
Deuce
a lot
to
more
7,
potential.
limited information.
Which I love.
I can get it in before I even announce what I'm gonna draw.
Yeah, you can just go crazy without even giving information
I've
up.
seen it. I've seen it.
I've done it.
I've seen it.
In Big O, so Big O I did play one tournament, which I did well in, but that was not because I was good at Big O, just because I ran good in the tournament. As far as the Thursday game, you can play both of them at the same night. Round of each, Big O, regular PLO, and Deuce 7.
That's
so
right.
if you want to dabble in any of the games, like that's the night to do it for sure.
Yep. And you can, I mean, you're obviously paying seat time, but you can choose to sit out one of the rounds you don't want to play.
People do that. Maybe they don't verbalize sitting out, but they just fold every hand because maybe they're better at Deuce 7 or Big O or even PLO. So you could do that until you get more comfortable as well. And okay, I think we are not seeing a straddle. Looks like just the regular 1-2. We still see George's monstrous stack there. I think it's just there for intimidation purposes.
Poker talk, right? Poker talk. 45, 4 hour game.
All right, Chris has a suited queen.
Yep, he will go for the limp again, as he's been doing. And he gets raised from Mike with the pocket fours. And again, a bunch of not so stellar hands as of right now, but it doesn't stop most of the players. Yeah, we're in there with queen 2, queen 3, 10-6.
Pocket fours.
And then a semi-decent hand, the fours.
Sailboats. And, those look almost like fours. Or the fours.
Oh, those were the
look almost
quads.
like
Those were the
aces.
quads of the day. That would have been nice
Fours
for
were the
Mike.
quads of the day. Oh, I mean, he can still catch running fours, right?
I think he's just going to be happy with the pot right now. They can't really do much from this point. They're just going to let him have it. Mike's had a pretty up and down day. He had the unfortunate problem of running into George several times.
Right. Oh, and there George is.
And there he
racking
goes.
Up the chips.
How many racks? What's the, I think 3 racks?
That's at least 2 and some. No, I saw the black chips now. Yeah, definitely 3.
I think 3.
Definitely.
He's going to fill up the third.
You think so?
That's my rough estimate,
So I think
yes.
2 racks and 3 rows of the third. That's my
So
guess.
2.5.
2 points, 3/5. What's 3/5 reduced down?
2.6.
Okay.
I think.
2.6.
Math is hard. Yeah.
2 and
In that-
3/5
yeah.
of a rack. All right, there we go.
I think it's around there too. We're going to find out in a second as we have Mike again opening up the action with the king 6 suited. We have Tat with a dominating hand. I don't expect him to fold. And okay, I was going to say if he folded that one. We've been so wrong with some of the predictions so far. The players are very, very fond of making us look dumb. But this time,
As soon as you think you know them,
as soon as
you
this
call
guy
it,
can never
and
ever
then
call here,
boom.
he snap calls. It's happened a couple times, so it just shows what I know.
All right, ace 5 6. Mike did hit
Mike
his
outflops
kicker.
him, so this might just end this hand over
Right.
here. And in the back over there, I think you're very close, a little bit closer to
'Cause he's
2.8
got
though.
2. No, he's gonna. Yeah, he might fill up a third
I think around 2.8.
instead of 2 point. I said 2.
You said 2.6?
5.
Yeah.
So 2 racks and 3 rows.
I'm going 4.
There's 2 towers of green.
Yeah,
No.
but they're not full 500 stacks, so they're gonna definitely overflow into the 3rd and 4th.
Okay, we're gonna see here.
Top level analysis over here, guys, at Red Star. Actually, on the flop, it looks like it went bet call, so...
So a queen is the only out that Tat has, and it didn't come. There's a board pair with a 4.
I was going to say Tat's probably going to try to bet,
And
but he just
didn't.
wants to take a showdown value, I guess. And, of course, the 2 pairs going to be good from Mike.
I don't think he's gonna show. Yeah, not gonna show.
Yeah, no need. I guess he thought the king-queen might just be good in that spot.
Right. I mean, that wasn't a super pretty board. Okay, where are we at? We're at 2 rows.
It's very close.
We're at 2 rows.
Yeah, it looks like
it's
it.
gonna be like 3. And he's
Right in
not
the middle
gonna
of the
fill up
fourth.
the 4th. Oh
Right
wait,
in the middle
hold
of the
on.
fourth.
Hold on. Fill up the
Yeah,
3rd.
No.
Fill up the 3rd. Oh, it's stuck, and
No, we
then
got
it's gonna
like
be
4 chips left.
So I was like
you were
almost.
You were 4 chips off.
Almost on. It was 2.3 with 4.
Yeah, that's okay. That was close. Good guesses though. Good guess.
All right. I
That was
didn't
really
go
close.
over. See, that's why I said
Yeah,
didn't
Price is
wanna
Right
do
rules. You were
2.4.
fine. Yep.
Price is Right. I think that was as close as you could get without
That
going
is true.
over.
Yeah, you got that one right. And I always like to eyeball a stack and try to judge how many racks it's going to take. Fun little game, but
Well, when y'all tower them up, it gets harder. Like it's easy when
Because
you
they're
have
not
'em in
proper stacks,
rows of
yeah.
20, and then you know. All right, I see. Yeah, definitely 2
yeah,
racks.
this is 4 here. Yeah, this is
Right.
4 stacks, 5 stacks. That's why it's fun to eyeball like those like massive like heaving castles.
Yeah, the big towers.
The
yeah.
big structures.
Yeah. Oh, we're at a bomb pot. Then we got 4 more hands. It looks like.
Yes, we are nearing the end. I think the 7 deuce game is still on. I don't see why they would have stopped it, so we'll see if that comes into play in the final hands. But so far, first we have a bomb pot coming in. Looks like we have 10-6 deuce on one board and then 7-5-8. So I was telling Jason, my big problem now is I look at these boards and I think of deuce 7 hands. I see 8-7-5. I think of 8-high draw.
Right.
I see 10-6
right.
deuce. I think of maybe a 2 draw, maybe a 10.
Okay, but mine has an open-ended straight flush draw. Not really open-ended because that 6 is taken. I haven't seen the Jack of Hearts yet, but he does have 7, 8, 9, 10 flop the flush.
And he flopped 2 pair too on the bottom.
And nobody has better hearts at this point. And I only see the 6 taken. So the Jack of Hearts could get. I mean, okay, look, oh nope, can't get a straight flush.
Bad card also. Mike had 2 pair as well with the flush on the bottom, but the 6 counterfeits him now.
He had 10 deuce, yeah.
Tad actually got there with the A6. Ted has a straight as well on top, so maybe he'll get involved.
7 players. Check.
Benjamin does have outs with the jacks. Not really. No, he does not, because they're taken.
They're all
see
gone.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's gonna get out of there. Yeah, probably just plays as a check call from Mike, and then hope that not too big of a bet comes in on the river.
Oh, wow, kings and 7s for Kim, and only suited with diamonds.
She's got a set on top, so she does have outs there.
She does
actually.
have a set of 7s.
And she has the, I guess, full house outs as well on the bottom.
No, she could catch a king on the. I haven't seen very many kings.
The 7 is gone though, or one of the 7s is gone.
Oh, it is because there's one on the board. And
Oh
one
yeah,
in
they're all
someone's
gone.
hand.
That's right. Yeah.
And the board does not pair, so the flush is good.
3 players.
With Mike. Mike's flush is good.
Looks like a chop board or chop pot. I don't see why Tat would bet here.
10 of diamonds.
Maybe to try to bluff them off, but he doesn't exactly have.
Yeah, he's gonna bet. Yeah.
Looks like a value bet too. I guess he's
It's
trying
like
to bluff them off.
$100. Whoa, 145. He potted it.
Oh, he did. I guess he's trying to bluff them
Yeah.
off, maybe. I don't imagine. I mean, it's kind of a hard spot for Mike.
What does Kim do?
But I think he imagines that a bigger
No,
flush would have bet.
she's
Yeah, from Mike's perspective, he probably thinks a bigger flush would have bet on the flop.
and he doesn't have much on the bottom board except a pair of 10s. So
He's got just a 10, yeah, so it's a little bit annoying for him.
it's like, do you make the call to take down half the pot, or do you just let it go?
Exactly.
Potentially save $145.
Yeah, that's what Mike is going to try to reason through. I guess kind of a good bet from Tat. He is
I mean,
putting
Tat
pressure.
has like $10 left. It looks like Tat almost went all in.
Yeah, he's got a little bit left for the road. You think he's calling?
Uber tipping money. I don't know. I know Mike is pretty level-headed and a little tight. I almost think he might fold, but he almost thinks maybe he's just good with the flush and Tat's only betting one board, which he kind of is.
Which he is right here, yeah.
Right. So I probably going to call. But if he lays it down, it won't surprise me either.
Mike has called in these spots in the past.
And he's gotten beaten up tonight, so it's like
That is in the back of your head,
bomb
yeah.
pots. You're like, I think I'm good. How can I be good with the 10 high flush here?
Yep.
You know,
Really annoying
seeing a
spot.
jack or a 6 would have made him feel better of hearts, right? It's always great to lock it in with the nuts. Yeah, he lays it down, which like I said, I'm not going to be surprised.
I can see that actually. So good bet from Tat. He turned his.
Because there was
just-
145 in there, and he probably only had 50 invested into that max. Remember what the bets were?
The bet was, yeah, I think around like 40 or 45 on the turn. Yep.
Yeah, something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
3 of them stuck around, and yeah, he could
And he
Tat-
sees the bad news too.
Yeah.
Tat shows it. Tough one.
You know, and then the table chatter too, because when you get down to 2 people, they're always like, "What do you have? Which board are you playing?"
Yep. Yeah, they always
It's
say
like,
that.
I'll show you 2. And like the 2 most, it's like the head game you get into. So I don't know if there was banter. The viewers at home, you could see and hear the banter. We can't hear it. We just have our own voices in our head here, watching a screen.
I do like
of
that
all.
little conversation, like, oh, are you playing top? Are you playing bottom?
Right.
And the guy's like, I got this one. Like, let it go.
Right, but when you
whatever.
let it go, because it's allowed when it's heads up, right? Like
They're
y'all
allowed
can
to,
talk
yeah,
all
you
you
can
want.
talk as much as you want in
but,
heads up
like,
pots, yep.
people don't understand that concept sometimes, because then there'll be like 6 players, and they'll start having that conversation, and I'm like, you can't do that. You
Yep.
can't talk about it.
Do you value table talk
I
in
do.
live poker?
I do,
Do you
because I'm a
use it?
live reader.
Oh, you're a live
I'm
reader.
a live reader.
That's right, yeah.
And table talk. I never forget. One time I was playing a hand, and this guy was just terrible. His tells were so visual, and when he was bluffing, when he had it, he contemplated and he like savored that he had it, right? And he would like count his chips and take a minute to bet. And when he was bluffing, he would grab chips and throw them in instantly. And I picked up on that tell.
That's
he was
huge.
sitting right next to me.
You
but
can't
like
tell anyone either.
he
Like,
was
you
a
just milk him.
no, he was a friend. And after I watched him lose a lot of money, I made a hero call because I read him and I was like, "You're bluffing, and I have something. I'm calling." And he's like, "Oh, how did you know? How did you call? How did you call?" I was like, "Dude."
Bro,
I told him, I
gotta
was like, and I told him, I said, when you have it, you go too fast. I go, when you have it, you're slow. And when you don't, you go way too quick. And he was like, really? And I'm just like, at the end of the day, if I have a horrible tell and you're my
I want
friend,
you to tell me. Yeah, I want you to
tell me. Take my money
agree.
and then tell
After
me.
the
And now it's a
session,
lesson.
I would agree with that, yeah.
Yeah.
Like if it's a friend, I would tell them. I'm not really much
friend
of a...
enough. It was friend enough. Guy's
Yeah.
super nice guy. I'd known him, through the clubs and everything else through the years, and like just super nice guy. And yeah, so yeah, I do like the table talk because sometimes they can get you in trouble.
If you know what you're doing, you can pick up information that you otherwise might not. My only thing is that the type of person to be susceptible to table talk are likely the more amateur players, so it almost feels like taking advantage, but that's part of the game, right?
Some
That's what
people
you're
do
supposed
that
to
table talk just to throw people off their game, or they're trying.
Some people
to
are
get people
trying
upset.
to like reverse
Or they're just trying to
level
needle
them.
people.
That's
I've
true.
seen it. I see it all the time. They don't stop. It's just like they're just trying to get under somebody.
They're just trying to piss them off, tilt them. That is a strategy. It is, I guess, within the confines of the rules, but not my
I'm
style.
talking
as much.
just different conversations about random stuff.
Yeah, that's
not
fine.
that it's necessarily like politics or anything current events,
Yeah.
but it's something that gets the conversation started that's either polarizing or just enough insane that you
might not concentrate as much.
Right.
I get that. That's, I think, a pretty valid strategy. It is your responsibility to pay attention and make sure you're allocating the right amount of concentration to the game versus
Right.
conversation. As far as table talk goes, I feel like you have to be very balanced with that in general, because if you don't talk when you have the nuts versus you don't talk when you have bluffs,
Right,
people
you
can pick up
seize
on that.
I mean, it's one thing, like, and I've done it. Like, I think I commented when you and I commented before, because you can be, like, talking just fine, and all of a sudden you just kind of go, okay, I need a second. I need to think about this. And then you, like, make your decision, and then you go right back to your conversation. So, like, you're right. If you just keep it the same no matter what.
The balance is very huge.
But it's
I
one
try
thing
to do
when you're in a
balance.
big hand, because then people are like, oh, you're in a hand. Like, finish the hand, and we'll talk later.
Yeah,
That can
exactly.
be understandable. But then once your decision's made, you're right back to talk.
Then it's fine to talk. If it's not your action, then I think it's fair game. You might as well talk. My thing is pretty much like most people. When I bluff, I kind of freeze up a little bit. This is back 10 years ago.
What do
I
you do
noticed
with your
this.
eyes when you bluff, though? Because it's not just you're talking.
I
Like,
do the same
there's times
thing.
like
I
I
stare
watch
at
you
the
from
same
a
time.
dealer perspective, and I
You do.
like, well, and it's not a tell, but I'm always curious, like, what are you doing? Because like you'll bet, and you're like eyeball, you'll eyeball.
Okay.
The
that's
next
good to know.
person's action, and I'm
I kind of try to
going,
keep my head, like my eyes on.
yeah,
one
you
spot
keep
at the
your
table,
hat a
but
little
then
down, but then I see your eye. But it's my perspective because I'm right in front of you.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know if they see it.
Right, they're not
But
necessarily
I was
looking.
like, oh, is that like an eyeball? Like I'm bluffing? Is he gonna catch me, or is that like is he gonna call? Please call. Please
Exactly,
call.
it goes both ways.
I'm like, I don't know.
That's the thing. That's why I try to be balanced there. Like I used to freeze up when I bluffed, and a friend told me that actually. So now I just freeze up no matter what I.
Oh
have.
wait, hold on. Derwin just had pocket kings and flopped a set of kings.
Oh, okay. Oh, but not
And Chris has
much.
pocket sixes, and Kim's got an ace.
German's gonna. Yeah, German's got the kings. I don't think he gets much action here though. They
I
have
mean,
very little
they-
to call with.
I feel like $40 is a good bet. Obviously, yeah, they're having none of it.
He
It's-
just had
ah.
too much of it, and all the draws that they could have had, they didn't have, unfortunately for him.
Whatever he raised at pre-flop, I mean, it was obviously worth it when you get two callers, flop top set. No, anyone had hearts, they might have stuck around. So $40
Yeah,
was
hearts,
a perfect
queen,
sizing.
jack, 8-9. I think, of course, you
Right.
got to bet with the set. Just a little bit unlucky that no one had.
You just
anything.
hope someone has just enough to call you, but not enough to win.
That's why you got to bet with those hands, even if they don't have anything there. You got to at least try, because
Yeah.
it's not like they're gonna bet the turn, right, with their ace 3 or pocket 6s.
Or gosh forbid, someone had pocket set. I mean, set over set happens all the time too.
It does happen. You want to get the value there for sure.
Yeah. All right,
I
looks
think
like we
we
got this
have
hand and two left.
Yes.
So the last few of these streams, I've been solo the last hour or whatever, and Dustin usually jumps on the mic with me for the last 10 to 12 minutes.
Oh, the stream,
10 to
okay.
15 minutes,
Yeah.
on the stream. He's like a guest commentator in the end.
Yeah, it's a little bit more difficult when you're alone.
Oh my gosh, we have to
you
go
need someone
back
to
and
bounce
watch a
off
few
of.
of ours, and I was alone
It's
for like
hard.
over an hour. Luckily, some
Yeah.
people jumped in the chat, and I didn't feel so bad.
That helps a lot. I would
And
say
even
for sure,
Dustin
yeah.
just holding the microphone made me feel like at least I was talking to somebody.
Exactly, like you're not like talking to yourself in like a closet in the back.
Like I'm talking to an audience without much feedback. It's tough.
Yep.
But I think I'm excited for Friday.
Yeah, that should be a good one. I'm gonna try to watch.
I'm excited for Friday, and then because I was so nervous the first time with Jason that now those nerves are gone.
Right. Yeah. Same for me. Like this was my second time doing it, and it's so much easier. I think every single time you do it, it probably gets easier.
I think it helps when you have Jason as your co-host because he is experienced on a microphone and he can take the reins when he needs to.
Yeah, he is a professional, and he knows exactly how to like drive the conversation in either analytical way or more of like a banter way.
So I need everyone listening right now. I'm sorry, I might have just blown your eardrums
we forgot
out.
entirely the drama. We were discussing the drama like an
the
hour
drama
back
what
or
happened the
something.
other night. No, I think you had actually already left because they were three-handed or four-handed. They were short-handed at the deuce to seven, and because what they ended up doing instead of a button tax, they were just auto straddling on the button. They were three-handed.
Yep.
And
who was it? It was Aaron Victor. Or
it
Aaron
was
E.
Casey and. Oh, I can't even remember who else it was. I can't remember, but
all
I know. So listen, so
Adam maybe.
There was a guy, and I don't know about his homing state. Anyways, there was someone that walked in. It was semi-cold that day. The guy had a ski mask on, and it was just like he just wandered in, and as soon as I was like, "Dude, what?" and the guy like rips his mask off. He's like, "I'm so sorry," but for like a split second. I mean, the guy just wandered in.
Guys, don't wear ski masks into poker rooms or casinos or anywhere in general.
That's not very smart. Like again, I don't think the guy knew where he was. I think he just saw a place that was open. Maybe the guy did. You know, he's part of our unhoused population, and he just wanted to get warm or use the restroom. We don't know, and he was probably oblivious to it. But I just for a second look over, and I'm like, what is going on?
That's
and
so
then
sketch. Like I would assume that I'm getting robbed. Like that's the obvious.
I think
response,
that's
right?
what we all thought. Yeah, in Texas too, especially. It was like, that's just not very smart. I think someone called him out. Was like, not a great idea walking in there with a mask, dude. And then he rips it off. And I mean, I was still dealing, but even Casey was like, hey, what's going on? And I was like, I think there's something going on over here. Like, because E stood up and was playing, and he went to handle the situation. And Casey went, turns out, oh, I said, there's a guy with a mask over there. And he was like, oh, wow. And we just kind of watched it. And then, you know, like I said, the guy, like, took the mask off. I think realized
then you
what
know that
he
you're
did.
Safe, but still.
Okay, wait.
Sketch.
Hold on. Another pair of kings flops
another
a
set.
set.
Yes.
But again, and there's a $240 pot, and Tat has.
Looks like Jacob
Queen
3-bet.
six.
He 3-bet the kings. Tat did make the call, but
oh my God, this has only been like 3 hands, and now we have pocket kings twice with a set.
They're just so short behind that. I can't see Tat putting more money in. As much as he wants to.
100.
Yeah, Jacob's just praying for Tat to have an ace here. But of course, that's not the case.
Let's go. Dang, that's 2
lot
sets
of
of kings. Because like you, last thing you want to see, and right there, you know what? The king, if the graphics read properly, the king was probably in the window.
Yep.
It was hard for us to see, but it's like that's all you want to see. And then you're like, I don't care about that ace.
Yeah, then you're like,
I
please
hope
have
you
ace.
have an
Yeah,
ace.
please
Yes,
have an ace, that's
but don't have 2 aces, please, because that's way too much
Yeah,
drama.
of course.
Yeah.
So the guy, was he a poker player? Was he just
No, I'm telling you, he was a random stranger. He had like a blanket around it. It was a scenario that you watch from across the room, but then you kind of realize it's probably innocent, but we all kind of froze up like, what is going on? And then as soon as someone called him out for having a mask on his face, it was like, he realized like, oh shoot,
Yeah,
you
like
know,
how this
and he
looks.
and he just immediately like pulled it off. So like at that instant, I think we all just sighed relief.
Yeah, like that
and then
cause
we're
a
like,
panic,
yeah, man, you
seeing
know,
that.
you gotta.
Yeah, you gotta not try to look so,
Right.
like robbery.
Right. Yeah, it was like, I mean, it could have been Halloween night, but that was a little bit of drama.
Oh, it was. Was it Halloween
It was a
night?
Halloween night. No, this was just this last Saturday. But
Yeah, wait a second. That was literally 2 days ago, 3 days ago.
Yeah, it was just a
whatever
few days ago. But it's still. I mean, even you go into a convenience store, they're like, you can't.
Would
on
not do that.
Halloween,
Would not do that.
Don't wear your mask in here on Halloween.
People shoot first, ask questions later.
Yeah.
Do not risk that.
We
This is
are
the
in
last hand, by
Texas.
the way. We are.
No,
one
I
more
think
bomb
we're gonna
pot
have a
after this.
bomb
That
pot
is right.
coming up before we call it quits. Ew. Well, pair nines is definitely beating the deuces, but Tat's just gonna barrel in.
Ted's gonna blast
And
in. Kim is not one to shy away
does
though.
not believe he has a queen.
Ted's very short behind. He's got only less than $100. I don't think this bluff's gonna work, but he doesn't.
Yeah,
He will go
nines and
for it. He's
fours
gonna
is
find out.
good.
I mean, all the draws bricked out from
Goes
Kim's
all
perspective.
in.
Like Jack 10 didn't get there, clubs didn't get there. I expect her to call here.
I mean, it's $88.
It's a 3-1. She does make
She
a quick
does. She
call.
calls on the 9. Wow. Like, well, if you have it, you have it. And
Ted
bad news
tried
for
to make
Ted.
a final stand, but didn't work out.
He tried.
Will he rebuy for the bomb pot or will he call it? Let's see.
No, bomb pots keep you around. It's a bomb
True,
pot. Okay,
yeah.
fine. I'm
guess
in. I'm
that's
in. I had never played a bomb pot until here. I
Same.
wasn't really playing in any of the card rooms at all. And
Yeah.
I remember when I started, I was like, what's a bomb pot? And they're like, okay, this is weird.
You're gonna like this.
And
but
now
at first it's a
I'm
little
sucker.
bit weird, but now it just it's second nature. I like bomb pots a lot. For a small period of time, I would go to TCH.
What's your
and play
favorite bomb
pots.
pot, Neil? I know, so let me explain to the
Yeah,
viewers.
yeah.
When our Deuce to 7 game, they don't play them because it's, I think, too hard to read all the graphics and stuff. But we have the PLO, you play it with 5 cards. And then you do the big O bomb pot, which is ultimate high, ultimate low of the 2 boards. And then y'all do Oklahoma, which you get dealt 6 cards. You divide them into 1 4-card PLO hand and 1 2-card Hold'em hand. And there's 1 board, but then the pot is split between the Omaha and the PLO. I mean, the Omaha and the Hold'em.
Yeah.
And then
So
you have regular.
and then so PLO we do at Red Star at least we do 3 different bomb pots. We do
Right.
like you said, the 5-card PLO high. That means 2 boards PLO high on both.
Right.
5-card PLO ultimate high, ultimate low. That's
Big-
again 2
big O,
boards, so
right.
pretty much big O. And then my favorite is actually the Oklahoma, where you
Oklahoma's
make.
your favorite?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It is-
wow,
it's
that's
nice.
funny. That's funny. I think there's a few
Because-
people that really don't like that one at all.
Yeah, I like that game because there's skill first in setting your hands, right? You got to try to make a
Right.
2-card Hold'em hand, and so this is also a split pot game, but 1 board. So,
Okay, so that's the one where you actually have control. Yeah, you can affect the outcome.
yeah, so
To some
there's-
degree.
There's 2 different ways to play this. Number 1, you make a super hand, right? Like a great PLO hand and maybe like a shittier looking Hold'em hand, or you try to go for 2 good hands on both, where you can maybe
Right.
scoop and make
Right.
win like a bigger pot in general. So sometimes you have to
Because
go
in
for
Hold'em,
either
you
way.
still play like Hold'em. Like you only need 1 card
For straight
to
or for
play.
flush. Yes,
yeah,
true.
yeah.
So I like this game because I think setting it, there's a bit of skill to that. Where
So that's your favorite one.
yes, I really
Now,
like
okay,
that game.
of all the variations of 4-card PLO bomb pots, like Suicide or Squid Game, or I'm trying to think of the other. There's different variant, but your favorite is Oklahoma.
Like the random variants, I don't play as much. I, on average, would play more of the 3 games you mentioned. So out of those 3, the Oklahoma is my favorite because also a lot more chance to bluff people off the pot by the river, where if you have the nuts on one of the board, if you set your hands up such that you can't get the nuts on one of the board, you want to take advantage of that by trying to bluff them at the very end, in case your PLO hand is maybe not so good or your Hold'em hand is not so good.
Wait. So I'm trying to read the screen, bounce back from our conversation into. I guess we're still
Yeah,
trying to get the cards read, or are we really only 3? No, here
Oh,
they are.
they're coming in. They're coming in.
Like, who has
So this is the final hand, guys. This is going to be the final bomb pot. This is a 4-card bomb pot variant, not the ones we mentioned, but let's see if we get any action here.
Okay, so Chris has a flush draw, but it's only 3-4. Dennis has
Look at
10-6.
Kim has everything.
Pocket queens, pocket
She has
jacks.
nut
she has a
nut right
straight,
now. Yeah.
Jack queen, and she has a set of jacks.
Yeah.
So she waited till the last hand.
And then she's going to strike now, it looks like.
She does. It looks like they went for $10 bomb pot since it's the last
Oh,
one.
yeah, they had a bigger one.
Up the stakes.
That's a nice spot to get nut nut. will
If
say
you can
that.
get someone to pay you off. If nobody got any of that.
Let's
I mean,
see,
Chris
they're
does have a
all-
small
Chris
flush
has
draw.
a straight and a flush draw.
Dennis
He's got
has
a
a
wrap,
flush
actually.
draw.
But Chris has very little on bottom. And then, wow, yeah, she's got too much of it with, 2 queens, 2 jacks in her hand. It is difficult to get much calls.
I think live streams are the only time to play live.
Let's see. I don't know.
All right, what's
it
Jacob
comes
gonna
down to
do?
Dennis, but Dennis has a bad flush draw. I think he just has to fold it.
Is anybody gonna call? Nobody.
She had too
calls.
much of it. It's one of those cases where
If she'd have
she had
bet
full
like
coverage.
30 or 40, but you know what? I think she's cool just taking it down. But
No,
if she
you
had
take
bet a
your-
little
you take your
less, she would have got
$70.
a couple callers.
She might have, but again, her hand is not like locked in. It is definitely vulnerable. Any board pair on the straight board she hates. Any flush on the set board she hates. And also any straight card. So
is this going to wrap it up, or are they going to play a couple more hands?
Let's see. I think we have time for them to finish up.
I think looks like they're wrapping it up. They're all doing their stuff. So, hey, you know what? You're not going to be here on Friday.
I'm going to Vegas.
You're going to Vegas. I'm going to be here Friday.
Yes.
And Jason Dick is going to be back on Friday.
Same game. Same game as today. The 1-2 200 to 1K cap or match.
But I will also be here Saturday morning dealing.
Okay. Yes.
Sunday afternoon and evening dealing, and Monday night is another deuce to 7 game.
Yeah, and Saturday as well. So it'll get going. Deuce to 7. I'll be back Monday or Tuesday, I believe. I'm there for F1
Are you
weekend.
back on Monday? You better come in Monday and play.
Yes, if I'm there Monday, I will.
Because this last Monday was a little rough. I don't think we actually
did we get a game
made.
We
did not make on.
Or yesterday, actually.
Yeah, we did not make yesterday. Yeah, it was really sad. But coming after that, December 2nd, Pokerface Ash will be in the house at Red Star Social.
Yes, very popular vlogger. She'll be here at 4. I'll be commentating that day as well. I'm not sure who my co-commentator will be that day yet, but I'm assuming it'll be another star
like me,
like Vicky or Jason,
Jason
whoever it might be. So guys, definitely tune in for that. And again, thanks again for coming in.
Yes, if you haven't already, hit the like and subscribe button, guys, so you get updated on all of these live streams. And we're signing off.
Thanks again, guys. Good night.
Have a good night.